Gaul merchant. But my lord, these are surface
Ah, my
silks,
friend.
dyed with the
Enjoying the
finest
festivities
saffron
so
and
far?
indigo,
Quite,
embroidered
quite.
by skilled elven tradesmen.
Have you heard about tomorrow's assault on the Darkspawn burrows?
Who hasn't?
They say they are going to strike a blow at the Horde, but rumor has it they are actually searching for Bronca.
The Paragon? Why search? The ancestors have risen her up to join them.
You don't think she's still out there?
Impossible.
By the way, it's both dwarf intros. Set up Bronca there.
Our trust follow, big brother. How surprising to run into you out among the common folk.
Especially since duty requires that you attend our King Father at the feast today. Have you so little respect for him to disregard his wishes on a day set aside for you?
Lord Harrowmont told me we wouldn't be needed for hours at least.
Silence! If I want the opinion of my sibling's second, I will ask for it.
Yes, Your Highness.
So, that's Tryon, or Trian. I don't remember, because screw him. I love how they set this up. That guy on the right, that's Balin. Balin? He's, a snake. A really devious, manipulative, power-hungry snake. Tryon's an ass. And I love this. Because this so thoroughly... I mean, this got me by surprise. I'll go ahead and admit that. Balin got me by surprise the first time I did this. So, I'll speak to Gorum like that.
I speak to lower houses and castes as they should be spoken to. Now do as I say.
Yeah. No. Keep barking orders. I'm sure I'll care someday.
Your lack of a sense of duty to your house is obvious. I can't imagine why you are receiving a commission. I expect after tomorrow I'll spend much time apologizing to the heads of the noble houses for the deaths of their children under your incompetent command.
That's a bit harsh, isn't it, Trian?
As heir to the throne, it is my duty to impart wisdom and judgment upon those who need it. Now then, you, get to the feast.
I'll go when I'm ready.
Stubborn, aren't you? When I'm king, I will help you get over that. Come, Balin.
That was fun. Nothing like being talked down to by the next king.
Perhaps being king will calm him down.
We can only hope. Perhaps we should get going?
If you mean... Actually, I do, Muhammad Elvis. Which I didn't know for a long time. But yes, I do actually get ad revenue on Twitch. It's just very minuscule. Like, if you give me a moment here, I can tell you exactly how much money I made off of ad revenue in the last month. It's not a lot. Let's see here. Oh, where's my thing? There it is. Brian Bloom. Don't be ridiculous. There it is. So from ads, I made $40 last period. Wow, that's... Okay, real talk, that's more than I thought. That is way more than I was thinking. That's still a minuscule amount of income compared to everything else, but that is still more than I was expecting. And no, I don't get to choose my ads whatsoever. I have no power over that. Brian Bloom. Who is Brian Bloom? Some guy. I do not recognize this man. I destroy him. There we go. Below YouTube levels? No, that is way above YouTube levels. You know how much I make on YouTube ads? Go ahead, guess.
I doubt he's up to the task. I'm not going down that road again.
Oh, I would love to end up with a redhead.
Would that Sir Blackstone were a noble, hmm? Stand up straight. They're coming.
Yeah, 0 is the correct answer. I get $0.00 from YouTube.
What have we here? Two handsome, strapping, noble lords. You both look so grand.
And isn't this the man of the hour, the king's son?
Who's your friend, my lord? Another noble from the honored House Iduken?
This is my loyal second.
But not from a noble house, girls. Sargorum, warrior caste.
Oh, that's too bad. You're quite handsome.
I'm sorry, why do you care if he's noble?
They're noble hunters, my lord. A man takes his caste from his father, and these women hope to bear a noble lord's son. If one is successful, she's raised up to concubine in the noble house to care for her child. It provides new sword arms for the house, and many nobles look favorably on such women.
So, seeing... I'm looking at you weirds. I'm guessing you haven't seen the last day of streaming, Saldir. Anyways, yeah, so just the same explanation we already had, obviously.
We'll be here if you change your mind, my lord.
Yeah, to give you a hint, Saldir, we streamed all day yesterday. That should tell you all you need to know. About exactly where we're at. This way. I think. 'Cause that's Harriman's place. We can't go and kill Harriman right now. As much as I'd love to. Murder is stupid, worthless, terrible, awful, ugly. Why can I suddenly not move the map? Oh, whatever. Move the map here? No. Oh, and sorry, Mr. Red. I actually heard about the Nintendo news roughly 18 minutes after it dropped. I know that because when I got the announcement, it was 18 minutes prior to when I looked, which just stuck in my head for some reason. As for Mafia 1, no. I didn't hear about that. Interesting choice, although Mafia 1 certainly hasn't aged as well as Mafia 2, so I can kind of see the reasoning there.
My lord, are you heading to the proving arena?
Yes. God, by the way, you can be such an ass in this as a dwarf noble. I'm not going to be, but I do actually like the fact that it lets you do that. I do. It's part of the positive I've already given here for gameplay. But, for example, Gorum, I do not remember addressing this man. Snivel, sneer, sneer. So, yes, I was intending to watch the provings.
We have been charged with the task of escorting you to the proving grounds.
I clean forgot about that. Forgive me, I should have informed you sooner. The king decided you were not to travel through the commons unguarded.
But I am quite capable of walking safely to the proving.
I did mention the merchants that won permits to show their goods in the Diamond Quarter. There were only so many permits auctioned off, and quite a few were turned away. Your father fears you will be harassed on the way to the proving.
This is silly, but I will comply.
Will we be leaving then?
Yes.
We are at your command.
Snivel, sneer. I am beyond you people. I can't do it. I just don't think that way. Dwarven society... So I've made this comparison before, and a lot of people have disagreed with me on it, but Dwarven society in many ways reminds me of Drow society if it was less self-destructive. Seriously. Because Drow society is all about the politicking and the scheming, the backbiting, and it's heavily female misogynistic, whereas this one's heavily male misogynistic. I'm not sure if there's a separate word for that. Very matriarchal versus very patriarchal. The dwarves Misandric, thank you. The dwarves don't do slavery. Well, I actually disagree with that. The way they treat casteless is as slaves, as chattel, as we talked about during the Dwarf Commoner intro. So, while they don't call it slavery... Another thing that reminds me of the two is the fact that both are heavily about politicking and scheming. Now, there is one big difference. So, there's actually two big differences now that I'm thinking about it. The Drow are all about, venerating Twitface. And Twitface is an actual real person who actually Zach Taft, actually really interacts with and actually really does things in Faerun, right? She's a real person. Now, I'm going to stick with Twitface, Jesse's Mask, if that's okay with you. Because I hate her. She's not the person I hate most of the deities. That would be Cyric. But she's probably the number 2 slot. Anyways, Twitface, she's just abso-frickin-lutely awful. And she's real. The ancestors are not. As we've discussed earlier, and again, no real life. Can we just leave real life out of this, please? The ancestors are not real. They are things that they presume exist and that they use as an excuse for their society and the way they function. But yeah, the ancestors are an ideal. They're not an actual person who's standing over there being like, "Hi," like Lolth is. So that's a big variance between the two, because Lolth can very literally make her will known, and she has done so many times. The other big difference is the Drow have a big thing about more or less being obvious and overt about their scheming. And you could say, well, so do the dwarves. The problem is the dwarves have a big thing about face value, about appearing to be a nice person, about having the appearance of goodness. Now, this isn't quite to the level of, say, Klingon politics, but the point remains that most dwarves will scheme and then not actually, openly kill someone in the middle of an area because they feel like it. Yeah, scheming is actively encouraged if you can get away with it. So, let's move on here. Still, a lot of Drow parallels.
Highness, it is an honor to have you here.
Hi, Paul Edding.
Have you come to watch these brave warriors do battle in your honor?
No, I've come to fight.
Your Highness, this proving is in your honor.
Then honor him by doing as he says. My Lord Idukan will fight in this proving.
Well, if I was to continue the Klingon parallels, it's external honor versus internal honor. I will honor today's warriors by testing their skills.
Of course, it is well within your rights. Men and women of Orzammar, we have a late entry to these provings, held on the eve of battle for the honor of House Idukan. I give you the Lord Idukan himself.
So, I'm going to lose this fight, almost guaranteed. Because, we'll see.
Then let us begin! This is a glory proving, fought under the watchful eyes of the paragons of Orzammar, for the honor of House Idukan.
We are on hard.
Lord Idukan will fight Aler Bimo, youngest son of Lord Bimo.
You honor me with this match.
The honor is mine.
First warrior to fall is vanquished. Fight!
For House Bimo!
Oh, I kept hitting the wrong button. So, first of all, allow me to say very quickly that, well, we're the worst build in the game on purpose, playing on hard difficulty, aka the difficulty they designed the game for. And I'm doing this to kind of see for myself and possibly prove or disprove a point. I'm not sure how this is going to line up, but that's why we're doing this way. We're still a warrior, so we have the ability to turn into something useful if, things go badly. And we can just turn the diff down if things go badly. But I do want to see how things go. So, we're going to go ahead and debuff him. Yep, just making sure. And we're going to hit him.
There is no hope. Now you
Do we
fall.
have any potions? We do have potions right now, so we're going to need those. Let's put those on the 7 key. There we go.
Oh!
Okay, we're fine on this one.
Well for you. The winner is Lord Idukan.
Just looking at what I got, which is basically nothing. Alright, whatever. Save. Idukan is a street. I'm
That
happy
was
with
quite a fight. Alair Bimo is no slouch with that hammer. Are you ready for your next opponent?
I have no idea, Crazy Horse. I didn't see any other mod files, so if there's something else, I missed it. Who's my next opponent?
Adal Helmi, a woman, Your Highness.
But they have girl parts!
Excellent. Let us go. This is a glory proving, fought under the watchful eyes of the paragons of Orzammar. For the Lord...
Honor and glory.
God damn it. Whatever. There. There is no honor in fighting a woman. Nah, I'm just kidding. To your house as well, lady.
First warrior to fall is vanquished. Fight!
Is that a mod, Leander?
By the stone I shall prevail. You have forced my hand. Ow. The winner is Lord Idukan. That was a crowd pleaser. Many were waiting to see that woman put in her place.
Dude.
Sir Blackstone is your next opponent. Are you ready to face him?
Whatever. What can you tell me about Sir Blackstone?
One of the best of the warrior caste. He achieved glory in close combat assaults in the deep roads.
Alright, let's do it.
Then let us begin. This is a glory proving, fought under the watchful eyes of the paragons of Orzammar, for the honor of House Idukan. Lord Idukan will fight Sir Blackstone, Deep Road squad leader of the warrior caste.
This is your education, child. Try to learn as you bleed.
Of course. Good luck to you.
First warrior to fall is vanquished. Fight!
Nice, Leander.
You have forced my hand.
And we're fine.
We have done well. The winner is Lord Idukan.
I do like that title, Lord. It wouldn't work for me, though. You can't call me Lord Lore. It just doesn't work.
Well done. You have proven that even the best of the warrior caste cannot match a noble Idukan. Franlin Ivo is your final opponent. He too has had many victories today. Are you ready to face him, or will you rest first?
I am ready to... Wait, can you tell me about Franlin Ivo?
He is a decorated fighter who prefers unusual weapons and rarely fights with the same techniques twice.
House Ivo is relatively inconsequential, but Franlin may change that. He's expected to take a full command of his own soon.
Lesser house, lesser man.
Very good.
No, we're actually being a good person.
This is a glory proving.
This is our actual playthrough.
Fought under the watchful eyes of the paragons of Orzammar, for the honor of House Iduken.
Deja vu.
It is down to just 2 warriors. With backbones of stone and wills of iron, they have defeated all others this day. Lord Iduken will fight Frandlin Ivo, second son of Lord Ivo.
You fight well. I wish you glory today and glory tomorrow.
Of course. May you be as the stone.
First warrior to fall is vanquished. The victor is champion. Fight!
I mean, I could do that, Salder, but everyone complained the last time I did. I'm gonna open up this time. Anyway, someone asked if Dragon Age 4 is going to add the Kal Sharok, and the answer is probably not. But then again, I have no faith in Dragon Age 4 whatsoever, so what the hell do I know? No, seriously. 0 faith.
I'm really hurt. Help me.
You got it.
The winner is Lord Iduken.
I mean, hope is a different thing. There's a lot of things I hope. Do I think BioWare's dead? I think BioWare's been dead for years, dude. Do I have faith in Paper Mario? A little bit. If you remember, Color Splash actually had a surprisingly good story. It didn't have a good plot, but each of the individual levels had really good stories to them, and I ended up enjoying that quite a bit. I hated the gameplay to the point where I was just enduring it to get to the story, but I still enjoyed, half the game. So, yeah.
Congratulations. Frandlin Ivo is as fierce a competitor as I've ever seen. You vanquished every warrior of note in today's proving. The ceremonial helm, commissioned by your father for today's winner, is yours.
Send it to Frandlin Ivo. He fought bravely.
The people will remember your honor and generosity for all time.
I mean, okay. Let's be real for a second. It's entirely possible that the BioWare label, and we have to call it that, might actually put out good games in the future. That is on the table. It would not be the first or last time that a particular developer label has descended in quality and then come back in quality. And Capcom is the most obvious recent example. But if you asked me when I said BioWare died, that's easy for me. Dragon Age 2. Now I know what you're thinking. What? No, you're dumb and wrong and stupid. And that's a valid perspective to have. But that is when BioWare died. I liked Dragon Age 2 for what it was. I liked parts of Mass Effect 3 and I liked Dragon Age Inquisition. But that wasn't BioWare at that point. My opinion.
My lord?
I'm ready to leave.
Your wish is our command.
And parts of Tor. I do like parts of Tor as well, absolutely.
Only the freshest food for your noble table.
Lord Iduken, here in my booth? I am so...
He's fainted. You make quite the impression these days. Is it hard to be the king's child, never able to just blend in?
I mean, I just wanted to talk.
There will be plenty of talk at the noble feast, though a less pleasant sort. Shall we move along?
Anyways, I don't understand why you think Malik could even defeat Anakin by himself, never mind if he had a 501st at his back.
Most exotic wares in Orzammar.
Greetings, my lord Iduken. I am so honored to have you visit my booth. I have a proposition, but I dared not approach.
Yet you dare now.
It's alright. Hear him out.
Very well then, speak.
Yes, just so. Here's the thing. What I mean to say is...
It's alright.
Sorry. So nervous. I had a dagger made for you as a gift for your first command. Sent a messenger to deliver the dagger to you. Prince Trian had him thrown out. I don't know what offense he caused, but I had him beaten severely.
Let me see this dagger.
Here it is, Your Highness.
That's an amazing piece, merchant.
You do me much honor, sir. The blade has been crafted over a period of 2 years by masters of every art. I wish to bless the Lord's first command, and hope that someday, when he rules, he will wear it.
Trian is heir. He will rule when King Endrin returns to the stone.
If the Assembly wills it. Forgive me, sir, but whispers say the second child of Endrin will be chosen.
Whispers indeed. It's a princely gift. If Trian recognizes it, though, it may send the wrong message. Or the right one, depending on your view.
I'll take the dagger. Thank you.
Thank you. You bring uncountable honor to me.
What he means is that you'll bring uncountable gold to him if you wear that piece in public.
Isn't that what he just said? Honor? Yeah, I know you meant the troops, Zaktef, but I'm sorry, but Malik's troops are bumbling, moronic idiots who were stupid enough to follow him after Revan's troops were no longer really part of his equation. The Sith troops in KOTOR 1 are morons. Now, you could say, well, what about his droids? To which I'm just going to laugh. And you're putting that up against the 501st, which might actually be the single most elite armed force in the history of Star Wars, with Anakin Skywalker at its front. It's like asking me, Lore, do you think this butterfly can defeat Cthulhu? And I'm like, well, no, I don't. And then you ask me, why don't you think that? And now I just don't know what to say.
My Lord Idukan, nothing here rivals your amazing Idukan armor, but if you wish something made...
You know very well House Idukan has its own royal armorers.
Of course. Forgive me.
Let's leave, Gorham.
As you say.
No, the butterfly cannot use Technobubble. This is not Voyager. Who would beat Anakin in his prime? Palpatine. I don't even have to think about that.
My Lord Idukan, you honor me by visiting my humble booth. May I show you my wares?
What do you got?
Please, look as you will.
I love that, by the way. So yeah, we can sell that dagger for 13. We can also sell the Blood Dragon plate, although I'm not going to do that for obvious reasons. I actually want to wear that. Oh, hold on. What is Ashes of Death? It's apparently a one-use item. Vitiate can go to hell, and that's all I'm going to say on that. Darth Maul is awesome. Oh, it kills... Why do I have this in my inventory? Oh, alright, whatever. Did we use that during the lore run? We didn't even call it a lore run back then. That was before lore run was branded. Oh, and you can't trick me into talking about the sequel trilogy, sorry. The sequel trilogy has... The entire sequel trilogy has officially landed on the Forbidden List. So, nope. But yeah, one thing I will give Tor, and I mentioned how I liked several parts of Tor. Most of my favorite Sith are from Tor. No joke. Like, if you ask me who are my favorite Sith characters, a lot of the characters that come immediately to mind is like, you know, Darth Maul, Darth Malgus, Darth Fat, I can't remember his name. Darth What's-Her-Face, I can't remember her name. Barriss is Fat. And he was all... I actually really like Darth Barriss. He only really made one mistake this whole time. And Zash, yep, that's her. So we've got Zash, Barriss, Thanaton, who I do actually like despite his obstinance. Mar, Malgus. And I think that's actually it. But that's still a decent list of Sith, of amongst my favorite Sith. And then you're like, well, think of a favorite Sith outside of that. And I just kind of sit there going... And then I got to start struggling to come up with a Sith outside. Yeah, I agree, Fenrir Streamer. Still an interesting character, I think. Still an interesting character. And now I got to think of a Sith that I like outside of them. And I think we can all agree... Jim Whisper stole my joke. I think we can all agree Darth Bandon is probably the best Sith. See, I don't actually count Kreia or Revan as Sith. I mean, if you want to pull a technically, sure. But yeah, I would put Palpatine on that list, although that's also kind of a technically. Let's not get into that. Maul didn't used to be until the shows came out. And Maul became, like, among my favorite characters from the prequel era because of the shows. Two television shows, took Maul and turned him into a fascinating character. This is just preference for getting around, Dakota.
Very well.
And yeah, Nihilus, I definitely can't count Nihilus.
The raid tomorrow must be more than a standard mission. The Wardens only go where the Darkspawn are the greatest threat.
Many thanks for your willingness to hear me out, my lord. I wish to speak to you of a matter most urgent.
Of course, Lord Dace.
There is a vote coming before the Assembly next week. And a word from you could go a long way towards helping our cause.
So, is this going to be a bribe or a blackmail?
The vote concerns the status of the so-called surface caste. Lost to the stone, air-touched, and so forth. Centuries ago, narrow-minded men declared that any dwarf who left to live on the surface forfeited his caste, and his house if noble. That he was, in essence, no longer a dwarf. I seek only to remedy an injustice, to retie the bonds of anyone who can trace himself to one of the noble houses wherever he may live. Please, agree to speak for this noble cause.
Of course, it's the right thing to do.
When your father presents you to the noble houses, I will ask for your opinion on the matter. You have merely to say that you feel our surface brothers should be returned their noble rights. What could be more simple?
Of course. Actually, real quick. Yeah, I noticed that. You want to make sure the noble houses who leave the surface can return. Because the funny thing is, I am 100% down for the idea of getting rid of the bias against surface dwarves. 100% behind that idea. But, that needs to be a universal thing.
As you say.
I am at your service.
Open this door, fool. Yeah, baby steps. I mean, there's two ways to affect societal reform. Seriously. One is very carefully and gradually over a long period of time, usually generations. And the other is... which may or may not work. Although, ironically, both of them may or may not work, so whatever. Did I... one moment. Whoops. Pay attention more.
I am at your service.
But yeah, I don't really think I could count Nihilus as a Sith. Then again, I don't think of Vader as a Sith either, so what the hell do I know?
I am at your service.
Like, it's every now and again someone says, you know, Vader was an awesome Sith, and I have to take a moment to be like, I guess he counts.
Greetings, my Lord Idukan. It is an honor to meet you at last.
The honor is mine, Warden.
I have had the opportunity to recently meet with your father. He speaks highly of you. He says you may be the most skilled warrior in all of House Idukan.
My father exaggerates.
Your humility aside, I have no doubt you will be a fighter of great renown. We need more Grey Wardens like you, and quickly. Even as the Darkspawn weaken here in Orzammar, they are stirring on the surface. A blight has begun. Soon the fight must go beyond the deep roads, lest the Darkspawn threaten all the world.
I do not know as much as I should about the Grey Wardens.
You know of our dedication to destroying the Darkspawn, our frontline presence during a blight. What else would you know?
So, your Mazda, this guy's actually voiced a lot of characters over the years. However, if you've ever seen the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show, you've probably heard him because Splinter. Are there many of my people in the Grey Wardens?
Over the centuries, many dwarves have made names for themselves in our order. These days, however, there are fewer dwarves and thus even fewer dwarven Grey Wardens. A pity, since dwarven warriors have the most experience fighting Darkspawn.
And yes, Crazy Norse, that is absolutely correct. I don't think they came up with that yet. Either that or they hadn't decided to put that in here for whatever reason. Probably because we are a dwarf. There's actually a line, I think Varric mentions it in 2, where he talks about, you know, a blight for everyone else is a reprieve for the dwarves. And that's when they start to reclaim places. I forget where that line is, but it's somewhere. Anyways. What does joining entail?
Being a Grey Warden means abandoning all ties to your old life. It means dedicating yourself to destroying the Darkspawn.
Well, I wish I could join you, but unfortunately...
Truly? Then I will speak to your father after tomorrow's battle. I have my doubts he will relent, but there is always hope. Until then, good luck to you. Show the Darkspawn what your people are made of.
You're a fool.
Well, I mean, I am a fool, but...
Your mother would melt the stone if she knew what you just did.
Excuse me?
Lord Dace is playing you false. Go ahead, be his puppet. Your first command will be marked by every major house turning their back on you.
I'm listening.
Last spring, a guild from the merchant caste invested heavily in an expedition with a guild from the surface. Lord Dace backed the merchant guild, pouring a great deal of money into the venture. The expedition was a disaster.
So, Lord Dace is trying to recover his losses.
Clever child. Lord Dace lost a great deal of money and prestige. The Surface Guild has no way to repay the investment, but it does have several leading members who are descended from noble houses. House Helmi, Bimo, Dukin.
So if the Surface Dwellers return to their noble houses...
You begin to see the whole picture. Your house and mine would be forced to pay the Surfacers' kin debts. It would be a great victory for Lord Dace.
Then he must die. So this is an interesting choice, because now we can choose to continue playing politics, we can choose to counter-play politics, or we can say standing up for surfacers is the right thing to do. Now we're not going to do that, so...
Just so, my clever friend. Smile and nod, and when he asks his question, tell him that the so-called surface caste are right where they belong. That should take Lord Dace down a peg or two.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Remember this when my house needs your assistance.
And of course, the only reason she's helping us out is so that she could get that favor. Everyone's out for themselves. So utterly unlike real life. Hey, who's this jackass?
Your father is very proud of you. Congratulations.
We should kill him, I think. He's going to be a troublemaker.
If it isn't our newest commander, congratulations, Your Highness.
My king, please reconsider. The trade contracts alone could bring great prosperity to our houses.
Will we really turn our back on our brothers and a potential fortune in cheap labor because of a political technicality?
Denial of the traditions of our people does not qualify as a political technicality. There is more to life than monetary gains, my lords Bimo and Mino. The Assembly of Kal Shirak will respect the rule of Orzammar, or they will rot and die alone, surrounded by enemies.
Yes, my king.
But look, we have company to spare us further wrangling. Atrast Vala, my son. How fine you look in your great-grandfather's armor. I hear you were declared champion of the Provings. I suppose you were never one to sit by when something exciting was going on. Are you ready to be presented to the heads of the noble houses?
Yes, my lord.
So dutiful. Very well, let us begin. Lords, ladies, grant me a moment of your time. We are here today so I may present to you my second eldest child, blessed by the stone and born of the blood that ran in the veins of the paragon Iduken. Who would pose a question to the prospective commander? Who seeks to know the prospect better?
I have a question. I seek to know the prospect better.
Lord Dace, head of House Dace, speak.
Lords, ladies, my question concerns the plight of our wayward kin, the so-called surface caste. What does the Commander Prospect think is the proper place for these lost souls?
Now, the funny thing here is this is actually... I'm sorry that I'm going to sit here and talk for a minute, but this is one of those more complex than it looks things. It doesn't matter. Like, this has no impact on anything, just like a lot of quests in Dragon Age do. But it's still the kind of thing that gives me pause to consider my answer very carefully, because on the one hand, yeah, no, surface dwarfs, I'm with it. On the other hand, this guy is just trying to profit from it and to rip money out of the noble houses, which is not only going to make him happy, but it's going to make me seem like I'm allied with him, thereby automatically making me the enemy of everyone who is currently the enemy of him, and in addition to that, making me more the enemy because of the fact that I have just decided to go against the traditions, so that's the first problem, and I have just made sure that several of them have to pay more money. So, bad, basically. Now, if we have knowledge of the future, then choosing this makes perfect sense. This is one of the reasons why this choice has no impact on anything, because we're not going to be a noble lord of House Iduken for very long. But of course, we don't know that. So in the moment, the choice we are given here is actually surprisingly complex. Do we push for reform because it benefits us? That would be the Balin method. Do we push for reform because we believe in it? Which I guess is the nobody method. Do we denounce him because we're playing politics and wanting to maintain our angles? Or do we denounce him because we want to maintain our own coffers? And there's a few other permutations there too. Good morning, Seraphim. Uh-oh, it looks like Vigilant has decided to hit the stream breaks, even more than I was already hitting. I knew it. No, he's perfectly... Okay. I'm afraid if you decide to besmirch the name of my great king, Vigilant, then I must kill you horribly, now that I have an excuse to do so. See, that's what you've done by saying that, the Dwarf King got his throne by a poisoned dagger. You have successfully given me an excuse to kill you. I don't care about whether you did that. I don't care about the fact that you're right. I care about the fact that now I have the excuse to go after you. Good morning, the President. I'm glad you liked the ME1 thing. I have no idea what I said in it, but apparently people liked it. Oh yeah, I was going to do that. Remind me to rebalance the audio in a minute. So, our actual options are... They should be respected, but no more. The surface dwellers are less than men, which is just whatever the hell. Or, they are as we are and should have their rights returned. I'm going to go with the first one. They should be respected, no more.
Are you satisfied, Lord Dace? Do you feel you have learned something about the prospect?
Yes, my king.
Then if there are no other challenges, I give you Orzammar's next commander. Tomorrow, our newest commander will lead part of a mission to strike a great blow to the Darkspawn. Not only does this recover access to some of our most important mines, but it also allows our honored guest Duncan, head of Ferelden's Grey Wardens, to strike far into the deep roads.
Thank you, King Endrin. While the Darkspawn seem to withdraw, it is only because they are massing on the surface. This could mean a blight, and my men and I will discover the truth.
We are honored to have you with us, my friend. Now, feast, drink, and celebrate, for the morning brings battle! As for you, my new commander, find your brother Trian and send him to me. He may be watching the provings, or getting some rest in his rooms.
As you command, my king.
Walk well, Commander.
And now, I walk up to the throne and he says, "What are you doing, my son?" "Succeeding you, father." Oh yeah, so let's do this sound rebalancing and see if I'm right. I had a theory last night. And we're going to test it. Alright, so first we're going to rob him. Aw. We're going to read his journal right in front of him.
Of course.
Like, right in front of him. Noticed Gorham running around trying to get the pieces of my sibling's ceremonial armor ready for the feast. Stopped him and asked him how preparations were going. He mentioned one of the bracers had a spot of tarnish of it. Was quite impressed with his dedication. He's most loyal. 2 days later. Was on the way to discuss the treaty with father when he came across a messenger waiting in the hall. On being asked he was loitering about the royal palace, he mumbled something about having a gift for the new commander and begged, almost, to pass along some object or another to my sibling. Me, the heir to the throne of Orzammar, does not run errands for a messenger. Must have been new on the job. Had him thrown out. Still reeling at the gall of it. Later learned that Balin had told the messenger the quickest way to get things to our sibling was through me, and had him wait until I came by. So unseemly for a prince of Orzammar to play such tricks. He needs to grow up and understand that as royalty he has responsibilities. So that's the knife guy. 1 day later. Found Balin's little playmate, again, lurking in the corridors outside his bedroom this morning. Must have been trying to steal something, or already had. Bosom seemed fuller than most decent ladies. Some jewels hidden in the bodice? Anyway, pretended not to see her. Would have been so awkward otherwise. Wished Balin would keep her confined to his room, if he must have her around. Little brother's too concerned with fun and pleasure and not serious enough about his duties as prince. Must talk to him about discipline when I have the time. Unfortunately, much too busy with the many tasks father has laid at my shoulders. 2 days later. Remember to send a small token of gratitude to Jalia Helmi. Alliance between Helmi and Iduken must be kept strong. Lady Jalia will of course accept proposal of marriage, since we'll be king sooner or later, but never hurts to be polite and keep the lady happy. Hear that there are some surfacers selling silks. Maybe send something nice. Her favorite color's turquoise. 2 days later. Heard about the provings being held in our sibling's honor. They did not have provings at me when I had my first commission, and I'm the heir. What is going on? I must go watch these provings, make my presence felt. Orzammar must not forget I am to be king. Apparently, Trian is actually a Scar. Who knew?
So you're a commander now, in name at least. Shouldn't you be attending our king father?
Father wants to see you, Trian.
Of course he does. We must discuss strategy before tomorrow's battle. Balin, stay here and stroke the new commander's conceit if you like. But then get to bed.
All day I've put up with that. He can really grate on the nerves.
So, I'm going to say something controversial. Between the choice of Harrowmont or Iduken there, Balin, for king, I actually think Trian would have been a better choice in his own way. Hear me out for a second. You see, Trian is bad at politics and bad at being a politician. But from what we understand, and most of this is background lore we learn after the fact, he was actually pretty good at being a leader. You know, being in charge of things, being on top of things, being responsible, being a long-term person, blah, 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 blah. The catch, of course, is he's the kind of person who would never hold on to power properly because he's not a good politician. Yeah, he's very straightforward. So if he had someone backing him who was a proper politician, that would be a power combo. But he doesn't, so... Yeah. That being said, of course, that's not going to happen. But once again, you'll notice how the game is trying to lean you against Trian for what's about to come.
And what I'm going to tell you next won't make you any more fond of him.
Okay, what are you talking about, Balin?
Trian has begun to move against you. I never thought his much-proclaimed honor would allow him to actually act on his jealousy. Big brother, Trian is going to try to kill you.
No, he's not. Now, what's funny is, with the advantage of knowledge and hindsight, we can look at this like what it is. This is a pathetic and stupid play. Because, as I just mentioned, Trian doesn't play politics. He's terrible at it. He's very straightforward and very honest. If Trian wanted to kill us, he'd drag us into the proving and kill us in front of a crowd. Instead, Balin tries to whisper poison into our ears so that we think he's actually trying to manipulate and plot this thing, and he's wrong. So I'm going to go ahead... Now, because I'm his brother and probably know him in character, I'm going to go ahead and call him on this. That seems far-fetched.
I wouldn't have believed it myself if I hadn't overheard him giving orders to his men. Trian's decided you're a threat to his taking the throne. Maybe he's right.
How am I a threat to Trian?
He fears what you are becoming, in the eyes of the people and the Assembly. Trian's the named prince, but only the Assembly can proclaim a king. It would be unusual for the Assembly to ignore the king's choice, but it does happen.
The founder of House Bimo became a paragon and king in one move from the Assembly, and he was a commoner.
That was an extraordinary case, but at least a half-dozen times the Assembly named a lesser family member, or even someone from another house, as king. Usually, it's the popular younger brother of an undesirable prince.
Hint, hint. And of course, implying that we are popular. And if you've been paying attention to how we've been playing our character, we're pretty amiable with people. And we like to get along with people, and we like to be polite and decent. So yeah, we're actually probably pretty popular amongst everyone except for the nobles. We're probably despised amongst the nobility because of the fact that we're a decent person. Again, hate to keep paralleling this to Klingon politics, but Worf was never particularly well liked amongst the ruling houses. So, I actually agree with Leander. If they could actually put aside their problems, Balin, the main character, and Trian, they would be a hell of a power trio between their respective skills and talents. Yeah, we're basically going populist, to put it into such terminology. Not really, hey, Huthor, we're not really on purpose, just because of the nature of how we are. So, does Trian think I'm courting the Assembly? Which I'm not.
Look at it from his perspective. You're more personable than he's ever been. You entered the provings held in your own honor just for glory and to please the crowds. If you win glory against the Darkspawn tomorrow, it will only strengthen the case for you as the next heir. Trian fears father will replace him on the spot. If not, the Assembly will surely turn against him when father dies. You know his pride will never allow him to step aside.
What's your angle, Balin?
It seems Trian has shown that brothers can't always be trusted. I am next in line. If Trian succeeds in his plot against you, how long do you think I'll live?
Gorham?
Permission to speak freely?
Done.
Trian would make a terrible king, but no one wants to say it. He has just enough backing in the Assembly to make it ugly when your father dies, but not enough to become king. Killing him now makes your house stronger and saves a great deal of bloodshed later.
I will not fight my brother. Mr. Red, it has to do with physically hooking up a PS2. That's really the issue. It is harder to hook up a PS2 than it is basically anything else. Like Wii games, I've got the Wii U for it, which is nice and easy. PS3 and PS4 games are relatively the same animal. GameCube games, I can, I have methods there. N64 games, I have methods there, and so forth and so on. But the only thing I have issues with is the PS2. So I try to discourage people from doing PS2. No, it's anytime someone suggests a PS2 game, it's going to be a give me a bit to see what I can do kind of a thing. That being said, it's always better if a PS2 game has been ported to something else, in general. Consequently, when we play Castlevania Symphony of the Night, we'll actually be playing it on the PS4. And Legend of Dragoon and Suikoden 2 will be playing the PS1 versions because that's what we got. But I've already done the work on that and gotten those working, so that's no issue. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Anyways, we'll see what Trian does.
Very well. I'll keep my eyes open. I don't want to lose the brother I actually like.
Not that I'm aware of, Dream Whisperer, no. I'm glad for your concern, Balin. Thank you. Trian won't do anything stupid.
I hope you're right, but my heart says this will end badly. I'm taking your place as Father's second, so I'll be at hand tomorrow. For now, try to get some sleep.
May the Paragon smile down on you.
I try not to use adapters because I've done that in the past and the quality was garbage. I mean, I suppose that's just how it is, PS2 game. But if you remember, that's what I used to do.
Clear the way for the Grey Wardens to descend into the easternmost caverns. Those caverns are still infested by the worst of the Darkspawn. We cannot risk our own troops in there.
Understood, Lord Haramont. We should be able to sense the Darkspawn and avoid them once the way is open.
May the Paragons favor you, and the stone catch you if you fall.
Come then! Glory awaits!
Balin, you and your men will second the king, clearing the main road.
Don't you think it looks a little cowardly to allow these humans to take our place where the fighting is thickest?
Are you questioning the battle plan?
Of course not. I'm sure your caution is for the glory of us all.
Enough, Balin. Take your men and make ready. Haramont and I need to have words with your sibling.
Good luck, my brother.
Your father has a special mission for you.
In the eastern deep roads, there is a secret door carved into the stone.
The door leads to a Taig, abandoned long ago by your ancestors. The Darkspawn have made it impossible to reach.
My father believed that the shield of the Paragon Iduken remains in that Taig, under the stones of the central room. Reclaim the shield, and glory will be yours.
Oh, Balin's plan is definitely iffy, which is a problem BioWare games in general tend to have. And yes, Carwalis, we are still on Origins. We're doing the Dwarven Noble Origin right now. Sorry. I've got Glory and 100 Dead Soldiers. Do I win? What else is in this Taig?
My father's writings speak only of the shield. There may be countless other treasures, but only the shield matters.
We've sent 2 scouts ahead to make sure the tunnels are cleared. But be careful. One of the scouts will meet you at the first crossroads you come to. The second will be further in. When you get to the door, use your signet ring to open it. Questions?
I would lead towards the latter, Jesse's Mask. Too often, writers tend to assume that someone who is skilled at manipulating just has near-perfect precognition abilities to just absolutely masterfully plan everything out. And it makes more sense that they have a plan, which may work, but also may not work, you know? Anyway, it's just my opinion. Got it.
Very good. The crossroads where you meet the first scout will be the rendezvous point. There you can present the shield to the lords and demonstrate the strength of Iduken.
May the ancestors watch over you, my child.
Yeah, by the way, you'll notice, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt the cutscene too much, but you'll notice Balin was already also still playing at politics there with both Haramont and the king. Lovely guy, really. But I have the weird feeling that Balin basically can't turn it off. You know what I mean? He's got that always-on politicking thing. Bears! Cave bears!
Right behind you!
Stay right there for now. Codex updated. Bears. Look, we talked about this yesterday. I even gave the game a negative for it, and a lot of people disagree with me on it, and with good reason. Truthfully, Ruth, I think they just wanted to be different with dwarves. And I don't blame them, really. But I have to admit, there's one of those weird questions. Like, I'm fine with varying it up. I mean, my own elves in my setting are kind of weird. But at the same time, the question has to be asked, at that point, why use dwarves or elves? You know? Just call them something else. But I guess they wanted dwarves and elves in the setting, and so we have dwarves and elves. Shrug. Save here really quick.
You made it, Commander. Did you run afoul of any darkspawn?
That being said, I do absolutely think that these dwarves work for me. In fact, these might be some of my favorite dwarves in fiction. Like, all of fiction. Just because of the way they're presented, and the way they're designed, and the politics, and the culture, and the society, and all this stuff. I mean, again, it's a nightmarishly, horribly messed up, screwed up system, but I love diving into it. I love the politics, I love the culture, etc., etc. Anyways, nothing we couldn't handle.
We didn't expect any activity in these tunnels at all. Once I finished scouting the tunnels, I hid here to avoid the darkspawn. Most tunnels are dead ends. The one we want is swarming with those fiends. It's going to be a fight.
Weren't you at the proving yesterday?
I was, indeed. Your gift of the helm was amazingly generous. I will treasure it always. May today's battles bring us even more glory. I'll take rear guard. Shall we move?
Now let's do it. I look forward to when you betray me in a minute. We'll see, Damashi, but basically the audio balancing, especially on the music, is frankly bad. So no, the sound options are insufficient for fixing that. Let me give you an example of this. A lot of the music in the game plays at, let's just make up some numbers, like at this volume down here. Like the music is playing right now. You probably can't even hear it. Now the reason it's turned down so much is because the music for combat is up here. Now, this is already an issue, just by the baseline. But then we add in the fact that every now and again they have an epic scene. And when they have an epic scene, the volume is up here, which then cuts over to a dialogue, to the point where you can barely hear the dialogue, which is why the audio volume is down here, so that the cutscenes aren't going to be interrupted by that. We actually already had that problem earlier. So, no, that's a balancing issue. I can't fix that just by, you know. It's the Witcher 3 problem, as I've already mentioned. But yeah, there's like this deep brass thing going on, and you can hear the going on in the background, that kind of thing.
You're in trouble now! Glory will be mine!
Second.
Right of you!
Taste steel! Stinks, doesn't it?
I have, in fact, talked about that hyperspeed folklore. But to repeat in summary, yes, absolutely. I would be astonished if they are not completely wiped out within, I don't know, a century from the high end. I'm not going to respond to that, Lord Harriman. Tempted though I am. Inquisition's 10 years later, I want to say? No, it doesn't sound right. 11? God, you know, So 2 takes place over the course of quite a few years, and basically happens during Origins. Because Origins itself, the entirety of Origins takes place across a single year. And then we have Inquisition, which actually happens after the book, which is right after DA2. I don't know if I'd say I'm looking forward to it, Zach Taff. I'm curious about it, though. It'll be interesting to play the series for what is effectively for the first time. I mean, if you want to, go to it. No, I've never played Halo. I don't have an Xbox.
Yes.
Never have.
I'm going to destroy you! To battle! This one won't be a problem anymore. Yes.
I mean, I do enjoy 2, really. But 2 isn't really what I'd call necessary for any of the rest of Dragon Age. With one minor possible exception, which I'm not even going to talk about. Because we're not spoiling things here.
Very well.
Dragon Age does not have loot radius or AoE loot of any kind. No, it's just you loot what you're looking at. It's... I bit my tongue, Lord Harriman. I bit my tongue.
You're here.
I'm good at
I thought
that.
the Darkspawn had got you for sure.
I'm not that easy to kill.
And I'll make sure I'm behind you if we're swarmed. We want the tunnel ahead, but there are Darkspawn tracks all over it. Be careful.
Have you seen the Tig door yet?
I haven't ventured more than 100 yards ahead for fear of alerting other Darkspawn. I'll follow your lead, Commander.
Alright, well, I'm afraid that we have to go say thank you to Dalton James. Thank you very, very much, Dalton James. Appreciate the sub, sir. Thank you. And I'll put that towards Bioshock immediately. I thought you'd be dead. Yeah. You've been talking to my brothers. Like both of them, apparently. I agree, Kemek. 2... I enjoy 2 for what it is. I will never play 2 on anything other than absolute ease or with cheats. You know, when we review the game, we're going to crank the difficulty down, and we're just going to give the negative and move on. But that being stated, I do enjoy 2 for what it is. I do enjoy several aspects of the story and the characterization of the gameplay and blah, 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 blah. It's just the dungeon design could go to hell, and the number of encounters. Like, there's a reason I call that Dragon Age 2 Syndrome. That's the game that gave me that term, you know? But, I'm sorry, I don't mean to bash the game. What I'm trying to say is that I am impressed by how good the game is, given how incredibly limiting it was when it was designed. So we're going to do that.
We'll be done.
And what is he doing? He's doing his thing, as he should. Okay.
Ready.
I think Dragon Age 2... Yep, no. It's okay. Better me than them. We're gonna blow one on him, too.
I am ready.
Oh, he's right there. He's right there. I'm rooted, not stunned. Let's go. So, what did Dragon Age 2 do substantially better than Origins, in my opinion? Perspective is probably my first thought.
Pain. I'm really hurt. Help me.
Shut up. Dragon Age 2 managed to drag the camera down and do a good job with it. Dragon Age 2 also... I actually like the plot of Act 1 and Act 2 in Dragon Age 2. And I can't say the plot of Dragon Age 2 because there is no such thing, really. But I do think the main plot of Dragon Age 2 Act 1 and Dragon Age 2 Act 2 are both legitimately very good. Good morning, Shadow Machine. Yeah, I agree with that as well, Lord
Someone beat us to the door.
This Darkspawn body is still fresh. Whoever opened the door is most likely still in there.
They may be allies. Hang on, they need an Idukan signet ring just to get in here.
It could have been stolen, recently, or generations back. Or it could be an ambitious cousin out for his own glory.
We'll see soon enough.
Understood. Let's move, men.
I'm guessing you haven't played Dragon Age 2 Hyperspeed Folklore. The final act of Dragon Age 2, and this is purely in my opinion, is dog crap. Most of the character arcs just kind of stop or unsatisfyingly conclude. There's very few quests or missions to do in general, and most of them are very unsatisfying. It is immensely rushed. It's also substantially shorter than Act 1 or 2. And then it culminates in a mission that, whenever we review Dragon Age 2, is probably going to get multiple negatives. Because the final mission, which, by the way, barely changes depending on who you side. The whole game has been building up this Mages versus Templar argument. And the final mission barely changes with who you side with. Because both ways, you fight both bosses. And have the same general, map structure and enemy encounter structure. And then it also just kind of stops. Like, you beat the final boss, and then you get one last encounter, which changes barely based on your choices. And then you see the outro, which is a huge to-be-continued tease, the end. I really do not like Act 3 at all in Dragon Age 2. Some of you may remember when we were doing the lore run, when we were going through Dragon Age 2, I made the comment that the game was a lot better than I remembered. Like, I was like, wow, I'm digging this. This is enjoyable. This is actually pretty fun. I don't know why I was so bad on this. And then we hit Act 3. Yeah, that game falls apart hard in Act 3. On both axes.
So glad you could finally join us. We feared you'd gotten eaten by Darkspawn. Turns out the shield isn't quite as easy to retrieve as I was led to believe. I wager you know where it is, though. So maybe you tell me where it is, and I won't mutilate your body so bad your father doesn't recognize you.
I love how they give this guy this stupid little evil mustache just so you know he's evil. But yeah, no, the lack of time and the crunch, not crunch, that's the wrong word. The limited time and budget problem really, really, really shows in Dragon Age 2. That is a game. 11 months. They had 11 months to make that game, and it shows. So, Gorham, we need to kill these men.
I'll try to hide my disappointment.
Just kill them, boys. We'll find this shield on our own.
Pause. Okay, so we've got Archer, 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 and 2 melees. And they've actually got a pretty good lineup. I agree, Uthor. In fact, I just said that like 5 minutes ago. Frankly, Neverwinter Nights 2, excuse me, not Neverwinter Nights 2, sorry, KOTOR 2 and Dragon Age 2 both are astonishingly good for how limited they were. It's a testament to the talent of the people who are working on it. But you could probably see why I said that BioWare, as it was, basically died during or as of Dragon Age 2. Yikes. Let me think about this. Okay. I don't know where to slip through and go straight for this guy. I need Gorham to focus on him and get him off me. He's the lead.
We will prevail.
The yellow, whatever they call him in this one. Ah, crap. I want you to actually focus on him. We'll do the same thing.
You barely
I'm not sure I know what you mean by the story of Empire, unless you're talking about the main story campaign, which I suppose I could talk about, in which case, it's alright, I guess.
Bleeding badly.
I mean, I think we only gave a negative to the expansion's story.
As you say. By the stone, I shall be ready. It will be done.
Then do it.
Yes.
I have no method by which to heal. Doesn't exist. So, take two.
So glad. So maybe you tell me what.
Alright, take two. I want you to focus on him. I'm going to change who I focus on.
This might be a trap.
Okay.
You're in trouble now.
There we go.
I'll show you.
Yes. Will be done.
I don't know if that does anything. Hello? Can I not? There we go.
Kill that.
Did you actually target the guy I keep telling you to target? Jeez, game. What's that?
Going.
I will not fail.
Tank's dead.
To battle!
Yes.
Show them no mercy.
Yo, hey.
Hi.
I'm going to need some sort of bandage.
Nah, they're fine. Did they not get injuries in the tutorial or something?
As you say.
Hey, it's my ring.
Is that an Idukan signet ring? I guess that's how they got in here.
It's Trian's.
The ring is Trian's. That means he...
This may not mean anything.
Or it may be a warning for us to keep our guard up.
Caution is always a good idea.
Agreed. Now perhaps we should find the shield.
It will be done. Very well.
Be careful. Watch your step. This might be a trap.
Sorry, Kai Snow. I've actually done a full premiere run of one of the FF14 expansions, Shadowbringers. Which, if you know anything about FF14, should probably answer your question in full. So many traps around, jeez Louise. I think you secretly just hate my show, Kai Snow, and you hate watching me. Which, I don't blame you. I mean, I would hate to watch me.
This is the room. How do we get the shield?
I have no idea.
There must be a clue here somewhere.
Well, see what you can find.
Do I think Fallen Order's reception and success will influence Dragon Age 4? No! That's literally not how EA works, like it or not. I know it, Kai Snow. You secretly hate me. are they doing over here? Like, why are you completely ignoring... Okay, whatever. Here, come here.
It seems some of these tiles are different from the others.
There's that one. There's this one.
That's it. We've got it.
Doesn't look like much. The skill of our crafters has come far since then. But still, the Shield of Iduken.
It's a symbol, that's all.
If it helps rally the troops, it's a good thing.
So, where's the rendezvous point?
Back in the direction we came from, at the crossroads.
To the crossroads.
I can't wait to be framed for killing my brother. I mean, everything's going to be fine forever. See you around, Damashi.
Did you hear this? There could be more of those mercenaries.
And we're dead. Yeah, those wolves, God, those things suck. I actually thought I could bring it down quickly, but I was wrong. I mean, we're still going to win the encounter, but God, those wolves suck.
Taste seal! That's for House Iduken! Honor and glory!
As you say.
Welcome back, little Alex. When did EA buy BioWare? Many years ago. 2004, I think? Like, BioWare was actually bought by a holding company, and then EA bought the interest in the holding company and got BioWare as part of the deal. But it's been a long, long time.
Very well.
I would agree with that, von Falkenstein. Holding companies can go to hell. Like, what's funny is the theory sounds fine, really. Group of people band together to form a pool of money that they can use to buy investment and interest in things they couldn't afford individually. Sure. And then take that and add 50 layers of greed and stupidity, and that's what you get when you see holding companies. Over here. See if we can get any potions. Nope. Okay, whatever.
Trian were really scheming against us, this would be the perfect place for an ambush. We've got the shield, and we're all alone out here.
Square is not a holding company, McCakes. That's a completely different thing. I'm sorry you're dealing with all this crap, Blew Up Alex. And yeah, as Mr. Red says, a lot of ideas would be better if greed wasn't involved. Taxes come to mind immediately. I trust my brother. Nothing bad will happen.
I wish I had your confidence.
What's that you're muttering about?
My brother... Nothing.
Uh-huh. All right, then.
Yeah, holding company. A holding company, in most literal terms, is a company that adds nothing to the world. Now, we could argue that, and we could debate that, but that's really what it boils down to. They don't produce anything, they don't provide any service. Vent away, Blue Wolf Alex. Lord knows I understand. It's what I do constantly. Just sieve all that frustration out of there. Oh, I got turned around, didn't I? Yeah, dang it. Listen, my brother would never... No, I'm not playing Trusting and Naive. Trian would not betray us. He really wouldn't. We know that out of character. But again, we're supposed to be playing his brother, who's known him for years. We should know enough to know that Trian wouldn't do this. So no, I'm playing someone who understands his brother and thinks his brother's being set up. Ironically, I happen to be right about that. Either that or it's nothing. You know, either this is a setup or it's nothing. Take your pick. I guess I'm lucky then, Lord Aramon. So hey, Trian's dead.
By the stone, it's Trian.
Lorshock.
Darkspawn attack. This doesn't look like Darkspawn. No bites, no scratches, no mutilation.
Balin outplayed me is one of the options you can pick.
Your brother?
Someone's coming.
Hurry, Father, before it's too...
By all the ancestors, what has happened here?
It seems we weren't fast enough. Balin was right.
My son, tell me this isn't what it looks like.
So this is going to be funny. We just got here a moment ago.
Just long enough to slay Trian.
My lord is innocent.
Sir Gorham, your loyalty makes you a useless witness. It falls to others to tell the story. You, Scout, what happened here?
Trian and his men were here early. It seems they'd done battle with the Darkspawn. Lord Iduken came up to them all friendly-like, but when we got close, he ordered us to attack.
I'm sorry. What? The part of the problem, Glaron, is Balin has been greasing pockets for, and yeah, I said that deliberately, for a long time. Balin has a web of connection and influence within Dwarven upper nobility. Way, way too much. He's the kind of person who makes sure that he knows, you know, that you owe him or that he's got something on you, and then he doesn't cash in on it immediately.
Frandlin Ivo, you are a good and noble man.
Just holds on it.
Did the scout speak the truth?
He did, my lord. It was terrible. Prince Trian didn't stand a chance. Afterward, my lord stripped his signet ring.
You treacherous bastard! Silence, Gorham! Do you have anything else to say, my son?
I am innocent.
I want to believe that. I really do.
Bind him. He will be judged before the assembly. To Orzammar.
Well, this is a fine how do you do. Hey, this looks familiar.
You've got 10 minutes, sir. Orders and all. You understand?
Of course. Leave us alone, will you, please?
Yes, sir.
I would have come sooner had they allowed it. How are you?
Trian is dead. How do you think I am?
I understand. It's going to get worse, though. Balin has taken Trian's place in the Assembly. He introduced a motion to condemn you immediately, and it easily passed. He had fully half the Assembly ready to vote on something completely against tradition and justice. He must have been making deals and alliances for months, if not years.
So, you have to respect Balin's ability to play the game.
He's more clever than either of us ever thought. Some of the lords, especially Harrowmont, are suspicious of Balin's instant rise to power. They are rallying, but far too slowly. The Assembly has already sentenced both of us.
What's gonna happen to you?
My knighthood will be stripped, my name torn from my family records. But I...
All right then. Right you are, Commander.
Lord Harrowmont moved for a similar exile for you, but Balin's supporters overwhelmed him. You are to be sealed in the deep roads to fight Darkspawn until you are overwhelmed and killed.
You got it. It's a warrior's death, at least.
It doesn't have to be. Lord Harrowmont gave me access to see you so I could tell you this. Duncan and the Grey Wardens are still in the deep roads, in tunnels connected to those you are to be left in. If you survive long enough to find the Grey Wardens, you may be able to escape with Duncan.
I'm sorry, Nerazaz. Honestly, that's all the chance I need.
Our time is up. May the Paragons guide your sword and the stone hold you up.
Same to you, my friend.
I will always be your man, my Lord Iduken.
They are ready for you now. Here is the prisoner, Lord Harrowmont.
Having been found guilty of fratricide by the Assembly of Orzammar, you are hereby sentenced to exile and death. Your name is from this point forward stripped from the records. You are no longer a person, nor a memory. You are to be cast into the deep roads with only sword and shield. Dare to redeem your life by fighting the enemies of Orzammar until your death. Do you have anything to say before the sentence is carried out?
Balin will destroy you as he destroyed me.
I understand your anger. You should have been allowed to defend yourself. Had I the power to stop this, I would have. Look me in the eye and tell me you didn't do this. For your father's sake.
I didn't kill Trian.
I believe you. That means Balin planned this from the start. Believe me, I will spend the rest of my days making sure Balin does not profit by his deeds. Your father asked me to give these to you. This sword and shield are of fine dwarven make. Strike a blow at our enemies.
How is my father?
He is old and this tragedy has hit him hard. He will rest better now, though, knowing the truth.
Tell my father I went to a warrior's death.
I will. Open the doors and let the condemned walk through. May the stone accept you when you fall.
Because this way Balin can become king, Hyperspeed Folklore, with no real opposition. Yeah, Balin's playing for the top slot. He's got a lot of power, but he wants more. And that's just kind of how that is. Uh-oh. So this is gonna suck, actually, because I basically don't have any abilities for this section. Or healing items. So this is a white damage battle, aka lean back and watch.
You should have fled.
Ah, there we go. That's better. Let's equip that greatsword. We are on the verge of finally leaving the Origins Titans.
As you say. Let us Let's end this. Very well.
You shall not touch
I need you to turn and not do a fancy animation. Ah, we're dead. If I manage this, hang on. We're gonna debuff him, get a big hit, hope for a crit. Oh, we got a crit. Okay, that was actually pretty close. That was actually pretty close. We're just gonna chill for a second. Let our region take over for a minute. By the way, every now and again, people ask what white damage means. So, white damage is static damage. Yellow damage is ability use damage. This applies in a huge amount of types of games. If you just, if you're just melee swinging or pulling your bow or shooting or whatever, you are doing white damage. If you use an ability like my #1 key, that's a yellow damage. That's ability usage. Casting a spell or doing an uppercut or limit break or whatever. That's all yellow damage. How is Harrimont a puppet? Harrimont is the kind of person who has support because people like the idea of him being in charge. Although we'll talk more about that later. See, I didn't even come up with the term, though. White damage isn't my terminology. What's the purpose of going with the mathematically weakest build? We're basically seeing how bad it is in action. And yeah, I guess I should level. Let me look something up really quick before I level. Okay. Okay. Grab that. What the? One moment. It's taking a minute. There we go. Okay. Actually, yeah, one of my favorite builds in Dragon Age 2 is Two-Handed Warrior. No! This is a totally unexpected outcome. So I completely whiffed that. That sucks. Who the heck is Chairman Overback? Poor bear.
As you say.
So at this point, looting actually matters, since, this is going to be us till the end. Oh, thank God, a potion. So I mentioned that all the difficulties have that potion thing. Well, the catch is, on hard, that potion thing is at 50%. Which means you have a 50% chance to get a healing potion if you are below, I think it's 5 potions, which we obviously are. Favorite tactic in RTS games?
We have done well.
I mean, I'm a fan of the classics. The Feint, for example.
Yes.
Also, I love the mobile defense is something that I've learned of. In fact, I think it's Warcraft 3 that taught me the mobile defense.
There is no hope.
I mean, like I said, Bregwin, I would be surprised if the underground dwarves do not literally die out within a few generations.
Yes.
They're dying out as of here, and the story's already moved 10-ish years forward. No, Dream Whisperer, probably not. Not that it really matters. Dragon Age Origins really doesn't matter for 2 all that much. Now, it matters for Inquisition. Actually, I rather like Human Noble too. There's a reason we did it second to last. I almost considered doing Human Noble again, but, I mean, we already did that. So.
Very well.
I'll go ahead and put that on. Get some actual armor going. Which one is the most canon? Well, that depends on how you think of canon. Because there's canon in the sense of it makes the most sense, and then there's canon in the literal definition of the word canon. So, the one that makes the most sense for me is Human Noble. It really does line up the most with being the actual one that should be the main thing. However, problem is Human Noble has a tremendous amount of impact on things going forwards. The actual canon answer is Dalish Elf. Last I checked. Which admittedly was a while ago. And you're probably thinking, why Dalish Elf? They have nothing to do with anything. Exactly. I should have pulled up the interview.
Lord Iduken, what are you doing here alone? Where are your troops?
I am Lord Iduken no longer.
Ah, you have been made to walk the deep roads, then.
You mean you were exiled? What happened?
I do not think matters of dwarven honor are any business of ours. You need not answer, friend.
I was betrayed by my brother.
Lord Trian?
No, Balin. Trian is dead.
I see. The brutal intrigue of the dwarven court continues, then. Your father intimated as much. There is no reason for you to walk these deep roads and die for something you did not do. You've already proven yourself both resourceful and skilled, and I would expect nothing less from an Iduken. When last we spoke, you told me you wished to join our order. I imagine this isn't quite what you meant, but you may still find great honor here. As leader of the Grey Wardens in Ferelden, I would like to formally invite you to join our order.
I would be honored.
Then welcome. We leave immediately for Ostagar to join with the human forces facing the Darkspawn hordes led by King Kaelan. Stay close. There are still Darkspawn around every corner. We will be traveling south through the hinterlands to the ruin of Ostagar, on the edges of the Korcari Wilds. The Tevinter Imperium built Ostagar long ago to prevent the Wilders from invading the northern lowlands. It's fitting we make our stand here, even if we face a different foe within that forest. The King's forces have clashed with the Darkspawn several times, but here is where the bulk of the Horde will show itself. There are only a few Grey Wardens within Ferelden at the moment, but all of us are here. This blight must be stopped, here and now. If it spreads to the north, Ferelden will fall.
Ho there, Duncan.
King Kaelan. I didn't expect
a royal welcome? I was beginning to worry you'd miss all the fun.
Not if I could help it, Your Majesty.
Then I'll have the mighty Duncan at my side in battle after all. Glorious. The other Wardens told me you'd found a promising recruit. I take it this is he?
Allow me to introduce you, Your Majesty.
There's no need to be so formal, Duncan. We'll be shedding blood together after all. Ho there, friend. Might I know your name?
I am Lore, Your Majesty, and I am no friend of yours.
Pleased to meet you. The Grey Wardens are desperate to bolster their numbers, and I, for one, am glad to help them. It's good to see one of the honorable stout folk outside Orzammar.
To my knowledge, that hasn't been 100% confirmed, Slordacity, but yes, all the origins happen. They just don't go well without Duncan. And it lines up neatly if you just sit and think about it. We talked about this yesterday. You must not have met many members of the Noble cast.
Sounds like there's a story behind that. You must regale me with it sometime.
If you wish.
I do. I'll make sure to have the finest dwarven brew brought up from the palace cellars. After we've dealt with the blight, of course. I've been to Orzammar. King Endrin invited my father to a grand proving long ago. How does Endrin fare these days?
I'm his son, actually, and he was fine when I saw him last.
Well, it seems your story may be even more interesting than I suspected. Allow me to be the first to welcome you to Ostagar. The Wardens will benefit greatly with you in their ranks.
You're too kind, Your Majesty.
I'm sorry to cut this short, but I should return to my tent. Loghain waits eagerly to bore me with his strategies.
Your uncle sends his greetings and reminds you that Redcliffe forces could be here in less than a week.
Ha! Eamon just wants in on the glory. We've won 3 battles against these monsters, and tomorrow should be no different.
You sound very confident of that.
Overconfident, some would say. Right, Duncan?
Your Majesty, I'm not certain the Blight can be ended quite as quickly as you might wish.
I'm not even sure this is a true blight. There are plenty of Darkspawn on the field, but alas, we've seen no sign of an archdemon.
Disappointed, Your Majesty?
I'd hoped for a war like in the tales. A king riding with the fabled Grey Wardens against a tainted god. But I suppose this will have to do. I must go before Loghain sends out a search party. Farewell, Grey Wardens.
What the king said is true. They've won several battles against the Darkspawn here.
You don't seem particularly assured.
Despite the victories so far, the Darkspawn horde grows larger with each passing day. By now, they look to outnumber us. I know there is an archdemon behind this, but I cannot ask the king to act solely on my feeling.
Why not?
Yet not enough to wait for reinforcements from the Grey Wardens of Orlais. He believes our legend alone makes him invulnerable. Our numbers in Ferelden are too few. We must do what we can, and look to Teyrn Loghain to make up the difference. To that end, we should proceed with the joining ritual without delay.
What do you need me to do?
Feel free to explore the camp here as you wish. All I ask is that you do not leave it for the time being. There is another Grey Warden in the camp by the name of Alistair. When you're ready, seek him out and tell him it's time to summon the other recruits. Until then, I have business I must attend to. You may find me at the Grey Warden tent on the other side of this bridge, should you need to.
Hey, Chatterbox. By the way, you donated $5 a week or two ago. You never told me what you want to put it towards. Because I don't like having headaches in the Fade, Marcus Killer. But I suppose we can turn it on while we're outside of the Fade. There you go, just for you. It doesn't work that way, Chatterbox. So, no, would be my answer. Thank you for watching my show, Kira White Noise. How does that affect the Fade? You know that kind of blurry, pseudo headache-inducing thing in the Fade? That gets rid of it. So.
Make her watch over you, my lord.
Alright. Time to jump. I'm done. Oh. It won't let me jump. Can I get some boots? Anybody got some boots? Dwarven size?
Be the Grey Warden recruit that Duncan brought.
I don't know, Killing You. I've never played this on console. And hopefully never will. Yeah, Chatterbox just wants me to stream Anthem again.
Greetings. King Kalen is not in his tent right now.
You know where the king is?
I believe he's with the Grey Wardens in camp, drinking. He holds them in high regard, you know, as his father did.
Oh, I should go.
As you wish.
By the way, we're not streaming Anthem again. We already reviewed it. So we have nothing else to stream.
Carefully, men. This wretched thing is a Darkspawn. They're strong and cunning and smart, but don't listen to those old wives' tales. They can be killed. Stick them with your sword enough, and they go down. Their blood is black as sin and poisonous. Don't even touch it. You get tainted with that blood, and you may as well slit your throat. We've lost many dogs already. Had to muzzle them to keep them from biting. It's a long and painful way to die.
I suppose that's up to you guys more than me, von Falkenstein. But if it actually manages to pull a No Man's Sky, then I don't see why not. Hey, look, there's a hole in reality right there. Do you see it? Well, I've drank some Darkspawn blood. From the darkness from without comes all the horrible death. Right now I look dorky.
My faith sustains me. I shall not fear 10,000 men should they set themselves against me. Blessed are they who stand before the corrupt and the wicked, and do not falter. Blessed art thou who exists in the sight of the Maker.
Right. Again, Maker probably doesn't exist. You were just linked a link to a Chatterbox, however, I'll go ahead and repeat it. lowrunner.com/vault is the full list.
You believe that?
I don't know what to believe. We've won every battle, but there's more of them each time.
Makes you wonder if them Grey Wardens are right.
I don't want to think about that.
Sounds like the perfect time to get drunk, if you ask me.
God, I look dorky. Look at me.
There are lots of Darkspawn, different kinds. We're getting reports of things we've never even heard of. Our short friend here, for instance, is something called a Genlog. They're pretty common in the Horde, but we've seen others much larger. We don't know where these new Darkspawn are coming from, or what they can do. All I can say is to use caution. There aren't any we've seen that won't die once they bleed enough.
That is not true. Okay. However, it's time to kill everyone in chat. With positivity! Thank you for watching my show, Geludo. I will put that towards RA3R. So, positive to story, Dwarf Noble. Probably don't need to make my point there. Boop. But here's the part where you're all going to hate me. Because I'm going to give a positive to gameplay for the Dwarf Noble origin. It's well designed, in my opinion. It's got good pacing between different types of encounters. A lot of it's optional, and several elements of it can go different ways depending on how you go through it, depending on your choices, basically. So now, Ostagar. Now, this is the worst part of the game right here, because I'm only going to give 7,000 positives for Ostagar. Who's this lady?
Greetings, young man. You are Duncan's newest recruit, are you not? He's not a man easily impressed. You should be proud. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Wynne, one of the mages summoned by the king.
I mean, I'd do her.
Well met, and good luck to you on the battlefield. To us all, in fact.
So, will you be fighting beside the king?
Not precisely. The Grey Wardens will be on the front lines, not the mages. Still, we have our parts to play. To defeat the Darkspawn, we have to work together. It's not an idea everyone seems able to grasp.
So, you faced them before?
Stragglers, yes. Not the vast horde the scouts speak of. I wonder, how much do you know of the connection between Darkspawn and the Fade?
Not much. I'm a dwarf.
It's home to many spirits, some benevolent, others far less so. At the heart of the Fade lies the Black City.
What's the Black City?
Some say the Black City was once the seat of the Maker. But when the mages from the Tevinter Imperium found a way into the city, it was tainted with their sin. That taint transformed those men, turning them into twisted reflections of their own hearts. And the Maker cast them back to the Earth, where they became the first Darkspawn. At least that's what the Chant of Light says.
This is a good time to mention. It's probable, based on what we know, that if we ignore the rest of Dragon Age and just look at Dragon Age Origins, this is probably true. However, given how the lore has been expanded and retconned in future Dragon Age works, books included, to my knowledge, to this day, we still don't have the actual, how and why and explanation of the Darkspawn, which is interesting to me in its own right.
It may be allegory, meant to teach us that our own evil causes human suffering. Or it may be true. It is as good an explanation as any for now.
Okay. I'm gonna probably kill Darkspawn. Oh my god, Huthor! Can everyone stab Huthor for me?
Yes, occasionally it's wise to contemplate one's actions. But I'm certain Duncan has more for you to do than talk to me.
Death is no failure, my friends. Should it find you, you will not have failed your king. You will have served your Maker. Die in this battle, and when you stand before the Maker in the land beyond the Fade, he shall not find you wanting. Go not into death gladly, but with the knowledge that evil has been held at bay by your spilled blood. And if you go to stand beside the Maker, go with our blessing, for you shall not be forgotten. My friends, let us bow our heads and remember those who have fallen and those who have yet to fall.
You know, Huthor, I'd like to agree with you, but I just can't. Banjo-Tooie it is, Chatterbox. I can finally move this out of the theoretical list. By the way, is Nadaz on? I've been trying to get a hold of him for like a week at this point. Oh my god, it makes sense! The Golden City was a Reaper! Excuse me, a Reaper.
I'm sorry, but the mages must not be interrupted.
Right.
Above, hear the prayers of your sons and daughters.
Like, I mean, I guess the nicest thing I could say about the whole mystery thing is if you want to have mystery within the work, sure, but then you need to answer the answers out of the work, like either in interviews or in ancillary works or something. You need to tell me what's actually going on. Tell me you actually thought this out and have come up with an answer other than, well, you see, they're evil. And they have smiths and Fletchers and they get food. I did, Chatterbox, don't worry. And they got food and they have like a roaming instinct and they know how to communicate with each other and they can cast magic despite being dwarves. And there's just all sorts of things about the Darkspawn that the more you think about it, the less it makes sense. So tell me you actually thought this through and made it make sense.
Soldiers of Ferelden, my sisters and gentlefolk, we stand here on the...
Like, you thought this through, right?
What's your name? It's Pick, sir. Go tell Turn Logain that the war party's ready to begin scouting. We'll send word if we find anything amiss. Yes, sir. Right away, sir.
Now, granted, I'm the person who, doesn't enjoy a magic trick unless you tell me how you did it. So that probably says something about me as a person. But the fact remains that I look at this sort of thing and I think, bleh. It's okay, Dragon Age 4 will come out, and it will definitely be amazing, and it'll definitely answer all our questions and not be a pile of crap, which is online live service focused.
You're the dwarf who walks with the Grey Wardens. A respectable decision.
Thank you, glad to be here.
Not many dwarves would come to the surface gladly. Maybe things have changed. Is there something you wanted? We have no time for idle chatter.
You don't look like the soldiers who are part of the army.
We aren't. We're Ash Warriors, as you should well know.
I'm sorry. You've trained with Dwarven Berserkers?
Our discipline was passed down to us from the time of Luthias the Dwarf Son. He trained with the Berserkers of your kind, long ago.
So you're the same as the Berserkers in Orzammar?
Perhaps. I've never been, so I cannot say for certain, but I'm told our traditions are the same. We harness the rage inside us, nurture it, and draw it out so we cannot fall in battle until our last foe is slain. It is a dwarven discipline, but we've adapted it to let us fight alongside our hounds. That is our way. I trust my hound with my life, as he trusts me with his.
Is that dog good for combat?
A trained Mabari hound is as dangerous as any sword. We do not speak of a city pet or those things that sit in an old woman's lap.
Huh. Why'd you paint the dogs, though?
They use scent to distinguish us from our enemies, but the blood of battle can confuse them. So we paint ourselves with Caddis, which overpowers the blood, and also paint our hounds so they know we are the same.
I've never actually had an S controller, but if you're referring to the 8-bit DOE controller, which is right here, the answer is yes. What if the enemy is painted with Caddis as well?
Why? Would you steal our Caddis and give it to the Darkspawn hordes?
Absolutely not.
Good. I hear death is unpleasant.
Alright, I'm out. Peace.
My thanks. There is hunting to be done, and I'll not be kept from it.
Well, I'm not a dog person, and I hate the sound of barking, so I'm not really the person to ask, Krazenars. Make that what you will.
This isn't good. I'd hate to waste such a promising member of the breed. Are you the new warden? I could use some help.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yes, I think Rockstar can make a good medieval game. After all, they made Red Dead Redemption 2. What's the problem?
This is a Mabari. Smart breed and strong. His owner died in the last battle, and the poor hound swallowed Darkspawn blood. I have medicine that might help, but I need him muzzled first.
Why do you think I can muzzle him?
You're a Grey Warden, or soon will be. All Wardens are immune to the Darkspawn taint. The most you have to worry about is some tooth marks.
Ironically, I actually am not immune as of this exact moment in time, but sure.
Go in the pen and let him smell you. We'll know right away if he'll respond. Let's hope this works. I'd really hate to have to put him down.
Kill the dog! I'm kidding, I put the muzzle on.
Well done. Now I can treat the dog properly, poor fella. Come to think of it, are you heading into the wilds anytime soon?
Yeah.
There's a particular herb I could use to improve the dog's chances. It's a flower that grows in the swamps here, if I remember. If you happen across it, I could use it. It's very distinctive, all white, with a blood-red centre.
Will the dog be alright without it?
If he doesn't get it, chances are he'll need to be put down.
I see. Where can I find it in the wilds?
It usually grows in dead wood that collects at the edge of ground pools. Should be plenty this time of year.
Alright. I'll see if I can find one.
Good. In the meantime, I'll begin treating our poor friend.
Before we wander up there. Let's wander over here.
Any last wishes I can help fulfill before you head into battle? Life is fleeting, you know. That pretty face could be decorating some Darkspawn spear this time tomorrow. Shall I take that quiet glare as a no? Oh, well, too bad. Well, you're not what I thought you'd be.
And who are you?
The name's Daveth. It's about bloody time you came along. I was beginning to think they cooked this ritual up just for our benefit.
I mean, what do you know about this ritual?
I happened to be sneaking around camp last night, see, and I heard a couple of Grey Wardens talking. So, I listened in for a bit. I'm thinking they plan to send us into the wilds.
The wilds?
We're right on the northern edge of the Kukari wilds here, miles and miles of savage country. My home village isn't far, and I grew up on tales about the wilds. Even been in there a few times. Scary place.
I doubt they'll send us in for pointless danger.
Then why do the Grey Wardens only recruit folks who can fight? Or are you their first basket weaver? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Like we have a choice.
I'll watch your back if you watch mine.
I suppose I could do that. Anyway, I expect it's time to get back to Duncan. That's where I'll be if you need me for anything.
That would be cool, Almateria. And yes, I've heard about a Crisis remastering. Shrug. Hey look, it's a Tranquil.
Welcome, young man.
Oh god, it sounds so terrifying. I should go.
Goodbye.
Oh god! Ah! They call me Mr. Giggles.
In the name of Andraste, I bless you today. May you find favor in the Maker's eyes. So let it be.
So say we all. Wait. There's another one.
I'm sorry, but there's so much to do before the battle. I must attend to my duties or I'll get the switch. May I fetch something for you?
I should be going. I'm behind as it is, I'm afraid.
Interesting. Ooh, chicken fajitas. Do you have any beef fajitas? Like, chicken is fine, but I love eating cows. Who are you?
Huh. Someone finally comes and talks to the lone prisoner. I don't suppose you've come to sentence me?
You haven't been sentenced?
No. They put someone like me in a cage until someone important has time to decide what to do with me. I don't suppose you have a bit of kindness in you? All I want is food and water. They haven't fed me since I was locked up and I'm starving.
Why haven't they fed you?
I expect nobody thought of it with all the battles and such.
What did you do to get in there?
I'm a deserter. Or so they think. I bet there's no arguing them out of it, though. Armies are funny that way.
So, did you desert?
I wasn't deserting. But when you catch someone sneaking around camp in the middle of the night, what else are you gonna think? Does it matter? All I want is a bit of food and water.
So, why were you sneaking around camp?
Oh, I would have deserted eventually. Just not then. I was stealing, not sneaking out of the camp. I got one of those wizards drunk and took his key. It belongs to a chest they got here, full of magical treasures. In fact, I still have it. I can't use it from here, but I'd trade you for some food and water.
They didn't find the key when you were arrested.
I swallowed it. But it's, come back into my possession since then, so to speak.
I'll take that. Kill him and take the key.
Yeah, well... Do you want the key or not?
I'll see what I can do.
Just ask my guard for his. He's still got some dinner. I saw him put it in his coat.
So, A thief and a deserter.
Lucky dog. You Grey Wardens get to ride with the king while I'm left with the drudgery of guarding this deserter. They should have just hanged him. Put his head on a pike as an example.
So why did he want to desert?
Why does anyone want to desert? Because he thinks he's going to die and he's a bloody coward, that's why. Either that or he's been listening to a bunch of hogwash about how the Darkspawn will drag you off and eat you.
Only if you're a guy. If you're a woman, it's much worse.
They say he was recruited before the war up in Dinnerham. Probably figured he'd never have to fight if he served the king, right?
I had a chat with him, actually.
Don't expect it was an enlightening conversation.
He claims he wasn't deserting.
What a surprise. Another innocent prisoner. At any rate, it's not for me to say. He'll get his day to plead his case, or he won't. It's all the same to me.
He asked for food and water.
Did he now? Since nobody sends me nothing to feed him with, the only way we'll get that is if I give him mine.
So you miss one meal.
All right, all right. I guess the poor fella could stand to have one meal in his belly before he hangs. Don't know why you care. I had nothing to do with it, though. If anyone asks why he's burping, I'm gonna say it was you. Just so you know.
Uh-huh.
So? Brought me some food, have you? I'm so hungry I could faint dead away.
Yeah. I love I still have the option to kill him.
Much obliged. May Andraste herself rain blessings upon you. And, as I mentioned, here's the key. Use it in good health, huh?
You know, what's really funny is, he's probably not getting hanged tomorrow. You know what's probably happening to him? He's probably going to still be in that when the battle happens. Now I want you to imagine the Battle of Ostagar being seen from this vantage point here. Just think of it. Picture it.
Sorry, the main army camp is off limits for you right now.
Right, right. It's okay. Like I said, they're just going to eat him and kill him. Or kill him and eat him. I'm not sure which order they do things in. These aren't Reavers, after all. Excuse me, Tranquil. I'm going to rob your chest here.
The course of action is inadvisable. Welcome, young man.
Who are you?
I am one of the Tranquil, my friend. I am of the Circle of Magi. But instead of casting spells and reading tomes, I spend my time enchanting. It is a time-consuming process, but invaluable. Enchantment provides the Circle its wealth. Certainly we would not get by on charity.
Right. So what is enchantment?
It is the practice of folding magical lyrium into items first practiced by the dwarves. The Tranquil have learned their runes, and we use them to apply a variety of magical effects. We create the glow lights, as well as the magic staff, or the flaming blade. The irony, perhaps, is that it is our very disconnection to our former talents that allows the Tranquil to work with lyrium so. A true mage could not.
Right. You speak very strangely. What's up with you?
Allow me to put it this way. Do you know why those with magical talent are feared?
They're not... No.
Those with magical talent attract demons and spirits. We can be possessed easily, and thus become horrors known as abominations. Even those with minor talents attract hungry spirits. Anyone with the power may learn blood magic from these demons. Hence, we are considered dangerous. This is our curse. Thus, I was made tranquil, stripped of emotions and talent. I am no longer dangerous.
That's, horrifying.
It might seem such to you, but I feel no horror. I am content to serve in my role.
Anyway, Saldir, here's the problem with that, and I know this is a bad thing to pick up, but, so, they don't know that in universe. There's a reason the revelation about what exactly, how the Darkspawn propagate is a big reveal moment. And is treated as and there's a big build-up to it. It's because we don't know that. Nobody knows that. It's possible that the Grey Wardens know that, but that's about it. Yeah, Weishaupt might know. That's absolutely valid. But we all know how Weishaupt has, and they're fun. So perhaps they should tranquil all mages.
You might feel differently were you a mage.
So I feel bad for you.
You do? I feel nothing. As the name suggests, my existence is quite peaceful. I am alive, productive, and no danger to anyone. Surely that is not a terrible thing. Perhaps we may speak of something else. Do you need assistance?
He's got a good point. I mean, you can't have a nightmare if you never dream.
Goodbye.
I can't wait to talk about that episode. I really can't. It's one of my favorites. It's a two-parter, but still. Yikes. So we did that, we did that, we did that, we did that. I think we're ready to go talk to Alistair.
What is it now? Haven't Grey Wardens asked more than enough of the Circle?
I simply came to deliver a message from the revered mother, Sir Mage. She desires your presence.
What her reverence desires is of no concern to me. I am busy helping the Grey Wardens, by the King's orders, I might add.
Should I have asked her to write a note?
Tell her I will not be harassed in this manner.
Yes, I was harassing you by delivering a message.
Your glibness does you no credit.
Here I thought we were getting along so well. I was even going to name one of my children after you. The Grumpy One.
Enough. I will speak to the woman if I must. Get out of my way, fool.
You know, one good thing about the Blight is how it brings people together.
I've said it before and I've said it again. I think it's possible to actually wipe out the Darkspawn. But I think the requirements for that circumstance to happen are unlikely given how petty, infighting, and political that this setting is. So, man, I know exactly what you mean. Also, hang on. Let's just go ahead and jot this down here. Positive to story. Alistair. Let's just get that in there. Any objections?
It's like a party. We could all stand in a circle and hold hands. That would give the Darkspawn something to think about. Wait, we haven't met, have we? I don't suppose you happen to be another mage.
What's actually funny is I know quite a few people who don't like Alistair. Like, really. It actually, in fact, in my experience, I would say it's more likely that people don't like him than do like him. I do like him. I'm on the like him side, but the like him side of the Force. How can a dwarf be a mage?
You never know. These mages sneak up on you. Wait, I do know who you are. You're Duncan's new recruit from Orzammar. I should have recognized you right away. I apologize.
And you must be Alistair.
Did Duncan mention me? Nothing bad, I hope. As the junior member of the Order, I'll be accompanying you when you prepare for the joining.
Pleased to meet you. My name is Lore.
Right, that was the name. There haven't been any Dwarven Grey Wardens in some time. You must know a lot about Darkspawn.
I mean, we've been fighting them for centuries.
Hard to believe most folks here think the Darkspawn disappeared after the last blight, when your people still suffer every day. Anyhow, whenever you're ready, let's get back to Duncan. I imagine he's eager to get things started.
That's not true, Titans. You can lose Alistair from the party. And we will not be doing that, by the way. So what was with that argument just now?
With the mage. The Circle is here at the King's request, and the Chantry doesn't like that one bit. They just love letting mages know how unwelcome they are, which puts me in a bit of an awkward position. I was once a Templar.
Oh, so you were a mage hunter?
Not that that's all Templars do, but yes, the Chantry raised me until Duncan recruited me 6 months ago. I'm sure the revered mother meant it as an insult, sending me as her messenger, and the mage picked right up on that. I never would have agreed to deliver it, but Duncan says we're all to cooperate and get along. Apparently they didn't get the same speech.
So what about the other recruits?
Davith and Sir Jory are here in the camp. Have you met them?
I've met Davith.
Right, that cut purse Duncan conscripted. Not sure what Duncan sees in him, to be honest. Keep an eye out, maybe we'll see the other one, or I can track him down later.
I look forward to traveling with you, Alistair, because you're awesome.
You do? Huh, that's a switch. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, lead on.
So, welcome to our party's main tank. He is going to be tanking it up for this entire playthrough. I think he's already got the best he can. Yeah, 38. That's what I thought. What's the button? N. Really? Okay, whatever. Who's my least favorite party member of the main party? Ogren. Defensive. Aggressive. So yeah, aggressive. Not counting the dog, because the dog is the cheat answer. So, FF12 and Dragon Age Origins both make the exact same mistake. They require you to level up and or basically develop into something in order to get more tactic slots. I've never really understood that. Really. Okay, so... Okay. Let's see how that works for a bit. We've only got 3 slots to work with right now, so we're kind of limited. Anyways, I agree with several people in chat. I think that a coordinated effort could take out the Darkspawn, or at least reduce them to the point of being a substantially smaller problem. But of course, that would require a coordinated effort by all the nations, and you know, I don't even have to explain why that's a failed proposition at the beginning. One moment, please. I need to look something up. Okay, that's what I thought. Of course, Lord Harrimont. Why wouldn't I be? I don't need a level. I'm a hard difficulty. Yeah, we'll be restarting pretty soon, actually, but not just yet. So, no, not yet. We'll be restarting in a minute. Really. Plus to gameplay. Gambits. That's right, I'm hardcore! Speaking of which, remind me to save.
That course of action is inadvisable.
We're reviewing the game, Shiny Toki. It's a little different. I'm missing one guy, though. I don't actually remember where he's at, because I didn't see him already. It's a little different, Lauren. Basically, they allow you to purchase all the tactics right at the get-go, but the slots still have to be leveled to procure. There he is.
Greetings. You must be the third recruit we've heard about.
So, who are you?
Sir Jury is my name. I hail from Redcliffe, where I served as knight under the command of Arl Eamon. I wasn't aware dwarves could be Grey Wardens. I've only seen a few of your folk in the castle dealing with the smithy.
Of course they can. Why couldn't they be?
Since the Grey Wardens protect human lands, I guess the dwarf would not wish to join. Obviously, I'm wrong. I hope we're both lucky enough to eventually join the Wardens. Is it not thrilling to be given that chance?
Aren't you nervous about fighting Darkspawn?
I would be lying if I said I wasn't. As a boy, my mother told us Darkspawn hunted down all children who misbehaved. It is a foolish superstition, I know, but I still shiver when I think of fighting them. Tell me, has anyone told you what this joining ritual entails?
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I'll tell you exactly how I fought Nightmare. Mage, 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 tank. That's how I did Nightmare difficulty. So, we're apparently going to the wilds?
I never heard of such a ritual. I had no idea there were more tests after getting recruited. I suppose since you're finally here, I'd best get back to Duncan. I shall see you there.
I mean, I know I already mentioned that, but my point is, for me, it's a lot easier to manually control mages than anything else because, there's always cooldowns and mana cost involved, so mages have more downtime. And thus I have less of an aggravation in manually controlling them.
You found Alistair, did you? Good. I'll assume you're ready to begin preparations.
Of course.
Assuming, of course, that you're quite finished riling up mages, Alistair.
What can I say? The revered mother ambushed me. The way she wields guilt, they should stick her in the army.
She forced you to sass the mage, did she? We cannot afford to antagonize anyone, Alistair. We don't need to give anyone more ammunition against us.
You're right, Duncan. I apologize.
Now then, since you're all here, we can begin. You four will be heading into the Kokari Wilds to perform 2 tasks. The first is to obtain 3 vials of Darkspawn blood, 1 for each recruit.
And what's the second task?
There was once a Grey Warden archive in the wilds, abandoned long ago when we could no longer afford to maintain such remote outposts. It has recently come to our attention that some scrolls have been left behind, magically sealed to protect them. Alistair, I want you to retrieve these scrolls if you can.
Alright. Vials of Blood, Archive. Got it.
The scrolls contain treaties promising support. Treaties that may prove valuable in the days to come. Watch over your charges, Alistair. Return quickly and safely.
We will.
Then may the Maker watch over your path. I will see you when you return.
Negative to story. The dogs won't stop barking. I mean, you have to admit you're a little biased, Lord Harrimont.
I'm told you all have business in the wilds. The gate's open for you. Just be careful out there. Even a Grey Warden won't be safe in the forest tonight.
I hate barking. So, we're going to save here really quick. And then we're going to leave the game forever. And we're never coming back. And I'm definitely not just restarting it to refresh the RAM. I'm also going to AFK briefly while this restarts. Wait, really, Lord Harriman? You're kidding. Oh yeah, so honestly, I've already seen proof positive of the memory leak. I'm just going to codify that. And that. And that. All of our negatives have just been codified. So, I mean, it's such an easily demonstrable thing. All you have to do is look at the load times. But if you ever want to know the worst memory leak consequence in this game, it's when you're traveling on the overworld map, which we don't even have access to yet, because you can't even see it. But you know how you do the that whole thing? That takes so long once you get to the point where the RAM has started getting completely out of control. And it's horrible and it's awful and it's terrible. That being said, I do have to mention, even if you don't believe me about that for some strange reason, all I have to do is point to what just happened. You remember when we loaded this? Like, you can just look at the VOD if you don't believe me. We loaded this zone, and then it loaded. After I restarted the game, we loaded the zone, and it loaded. And that is, speaking from experience, that is an ever-escalating thing. In other words, that load time will just continue to go up and up and up and up until, you know, you're literally taking in the minutes range in order to travel around. Unless, of course, you just restart the game, which flushes the memory. So, negative, codified.
Dangerous wildlife.
So, how many of you have died on this encounter? So, first of all, Kenkin Legend, welcome to the stream. Shoutouts, don't be a stranger. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, please feel free to share. Second thing, so I don't remember if I mentioned this when we were doing the lore run, but I will never forget my first Nightmare playthrough, the one where I actually sat down and did it. And by that point, I'd played the game a couple times. I knew what I was doing, and I had an idea of where I was going. And I'm like, okay. And I had been doing pretty decently up to this point. No real issues. I think I'd restarted like once or twice. But no real issues. So I got to this point, and these wolves destroyed me. And I was just like... And that pretty much told me what I was in for on Nightmare. I probably don't have it in me to do like a Nightmare playthrough again, because Nightmare playthroughs involve time. Gotta make sure... You gotta be willing to restart over... and over, and over. Yeah, you learn to save before every single encounter in Nightmare, because all it's going to take is one bad dice roll, and you are gone. In my experience, anyways. I have only played through this game on Nightmare once, the one time. And I never will again. I should probably level. I already did that, so let's level up. So I just want straight strength for right now. Yeah. And... Actually, hang on. So I want 16. Can I do that right now? I could. I'm actually going to do that now. I'm just going to max out my cunning right now so I don't have to think about it. Take coercion. So we could get Pommel Strike, which is a pretty decent stun. And we can't get anything else because of that. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get Pommel. Oh, okay, here we go. What do we got? So that's the immune to knockdowns, which is going to be useful when we get to the deep roads. I actually don't know, Shiny Toki. Sorry, I'm thinking long term here. Give me just a second. Sadly, I think I agree. I was tempted to dip into Warrior to get that. And possibly lead up to that. Because Deathblow is extremely useful for a Warrior. In fact, it's something I'll be taking on my tank, Alistair. But I think we'll keep going down two-handed for now. And I do think we'll have to kill Shikor. I'm not sure why yet, but I'll find out in just a second. Aw. I'm sorry you have to go to work, Shikor. My apologies. And thank you very, very much, Shikor. Much obliged, sir. Thank you. Would I say having story devalues a game? What? Hey, Gum Gum. Would you say that the clouds are made of cotton candy? Did you know you could breathe through your elbows? Because that's what you just said to me. So there's the missionary. I'll just take that. Actually, real quick. Yeah, that's what I thought. And I've put that towards Fire Emblem, by the way. Path of Radiance.
Over here. Who is that? Grey Wardens?
Well, he's not half as dead as he looks, is he?
My scouting band was attacked by Darkspawn. They came out of the ground. Please help me. I've got to return to camp.
Very well. Stab!
If you just bandage me up, I can get back myself.
I have bandages in my pack.
Thank you. I've got to get out of here.
Did you hear? An entire patrol of seasoned men killed by Darkspawn.
Calm down, Sir Jory. We'll be fine if we're careful.
Those soldiers were careful, and they were still overwhelmed. How many Darkspawn can the four of us slay? A dozen? 100? There's an entire army in these forests.
There are Darkspawn about, but we're in no danger of walking into the bulk of the Horde.
How do you know? I'm not a coward, but this is foolish and reckless. We should go back.
I mean, overcoming dangers is probably part of the test.
That's true.
Know this. All Grey Wardens can sense Darkspawn. Whatever their cunning, I guarantee they won't take us by surprise. That's why I'm here.
You see, Sir Knight, we might die, but we'll be warned about it first.
That is reassuring.
That doesn't mean I'm here to make this easy, however. So let's get a move on.
That's what skippable cutscenes are for, Gum. For the insane, weird, I mean, unusual person who prefers to not have story in their video games.
Of course.
Damn it. Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember this encounter. This one's mean. Let's pull back. Or let's charge in! Damn it, Alistair! Okay, that's okay. I can make this work. I just have to focus on this. You mean the Legion of the Dead, Dream Whisperer? That's basically what that is. What do we got? So, Pommel needs to be on 5. That needs to be over here on the buff range. And that's a debuff. Actually, honestly, the debuff should be on 6. Define skippable gameplay, Mr. Red. Give me an example.
Not fall. As you say.
No, Dream Whisperer. I'm just poking fun, but that is kind of the answer to your question. The Olks would absolutely annihilate the Darkspawn. And everything else.
Don't say I didn't warn you!
So should it be.
Dead yet? They're too tough!
That's fair, Schmeidoff. Okay, well, in that case, I've already answered your question, Mr. Red. Because I'm very much in favor of good built-in cheats, as well as casual mode difficulty, using the Blizzard standard on that one. So, I don't think the Olks would get infected with dark spawniness, no. Not thanks to their nature as being Olks. No, Zach Taft. No.
Yes.
There's one thing I don't like about this game. I have to run around holding tab the entire time. Just like in Neverwinter Nights, actually. Okay, so I remember this fight sucks. Let's see. Let's charge this one. Hope that he's got my back. Nope, I'm dead. I am super dead. Let's see if we can at least kill this guy before we go down. Don't mind me, I'll just stand here being stunned. See you around, Muhammad Elvis. Hope to see you in the future. You know what's funny is I legitimately thought about that, Lord Harriman. Nope, yep, okay, so we're dead. So.
Darkspawn, beware.
So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna switch to him. Him.
And how?
And we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. Really?
Very well.
There we go. Now we're gonna pull back. Nope, we're gonna pull back. We're gonna pull back. We're gonna pull. Oh god, I alt-tabbed. Ah! Screw it! Berserker mode engaged. Wow, I missed. Hello? Hello? Oh my god. Oh, he's already down. Let's just reload. Yeah, let's, everyone stand there, okay? Everyone just stand there for a second. There we go. Let's back off. Let's back to the greatsword. Hold on. Hold on. Now. God, my physical resistance is garbage. Let's see if we can outdistance these while they finish them off. Yep, there we go. Now I'm gonna need you guys to... Oh, yep, okay, whatever. That's okay. I'll accept that. Come on. Or that. Okay, yep, that's it. Whatever. We're all dead. We're all dead.
To the death! Say your prayers!
Alright, so we're dead. Kind of Jesse's Mask, but I also kind of hate to play that way, if I'm just being 100% honest. I really don't like manually controlling everyone in a situation like this. I prefer, like, Divinity Original Sin 2, where it's fully turn-based, as opposed to this kind of real-time with pause thing. I've never liked real-time with pause. Okay, so let's go and do this, and then do this, then do this. Do this.
Very well.
Do this. I mean, Alistair's tactics are set up. That counts, right? So I'm just going to keep pulling here. And then hit this button. In a line of sight. I'm going to back out. That's a preference thing. I'm not going to ding the game for that, although I do ding the game for preference things, so whatever.
Of course.
Hell do I know.
It will be done.
I don't know if there's a cancel party action button, but there is H. Which is, you know, stay here. Okay, so now we're going to pull the same trick again. Come on back, come on back. Let's get the right flank. Hang on. Actually, I think Malik's an awesome character, and I'm pretty sure I gave him a plus to story for being an interesting villain. Zacked out. So, don't put words in my mouth.
Of course.
That should be sufficient. Go.
It will be done.
So I'm gonna admit something. I actually like this type of gameplay. The very carefully approaching every encounter kind of a thing.
We have done well.
The problem is, I feel like for how this works, there's just a few too many encounters for this game. So here's what I'm going to do. Because I do have other games to play in my schedule, and I think I've actually already come to the point I need to. I'm going to give 15 negatives for terrible gameplay. Any questions? Can someone stab Gum Gum for me, please? Thank you. Like I said, don't put words in my mouth. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to give an aggregate negative because I feel like the game offsets a lot of its problems, but I feel like the game simply has too many encounters for the way it's designed. Because from what I've seen, now granted I'm playing a crap build, but from what I've seen, this is kind of how they want you to play the game. Okay, so there's 4 groups of Darkspawn over there, so I'm going to do this, and then pull back, and then I'm going to pull them back. Okay, then I'm going to get these guys. I'm going to try and flank this guy. I'm going to get some archers up on the hill, and blah, 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 blah. I like Malik just fine. Malik's an awesome character. I gave Malik a plus to story. Someone keeps stabbing Gum Gum for continuing to lie. Jesus Christ. Anyways, so I feel like basically I feel like we have a little bit of the Baldur's Gate problem, or as I like to call it, the factory worker syndrome. Because this is fun. I'm actually enjoying doing this right now, legit, despite everything. But I can see the future leaned out in front of me of continuing to play on hard, because I've done this before. I've played this game on Nightmare, and I know that this is the game, that this is the rest of the game. And I need to, at the bare minimum, I need to beat this game by next Friday, which I'm 100% certain I can do, unless we keep doing this. Because every single major encounter, of which there are many, is going to go down. This isn't even the worst encounter in this area by memory. There's one down to the southwest here. Why can I still not move the map? There's one down to the southwest-ish area over that area, which is, it's across a bridge. I bet you remember the one. I bet some of you who have played this game know what that area is. And there's this bridge, and that guy, that bridge sucks to go across. And I have died on that bridge many times. Yeah, there's a mage. There's a Herlock or Genlock or whatever. And yeah, that encounter sucks. But anyways. So we're going to finish this encounter here. I love how several of you in chat, you knew the encounter I was talking about.
Any last words?
So, factory worker syndrome. Factory worker syndrome is... I'll just explain what it means in order to try and get across the idea of what factory worker syndrome is. So you're working on a factory, okay? And you have to be very precise and very careful, because if you screw up, you're going to lose a hand. But what you're doing is incredibly boring. That's factory worker syndrome. Boring's the wrong word. Sorry, let me take that back. Let me throw that out the window. Repetitive. What you're doing is very repetitive. Because you are there doing the same thing over and over again. And you have to do it right, and you have to do it carefully, and you have to put effort into it, and you have to be on your game. And if you screw up, there are serious major consequences. And it's hard to do, and there's a lot of it. And that's really what factory worker syndrome is. Probably another game that really fits into that concept would be a game I played recently, Pathfinder Kingmaker, where the combat's actually really good. And there's some good, well-designed stuff there. And there's 700 billion trillion encounters in the game. So, Lord Harrowmont doesn't agree with me, for example, because he says that's like saying there's too much story in a game. But that is a thing! That's an actual thing! There is such a thing as too much story. Especially if it's bad story. After a certain point, it's like, okay. And it just kind of drags on after a certain point. So no, I stand by my statement. So no, the negative isn't even for the difficulty or the options or anything. The negative is for one thing and one thing only. Too many encounters. Now that is admittedly going by my memory, and that's not a codified negative. In fact, it's not even a full negative yet. But I do think this game has too many encounters. It's not as bad as Dragon Age 2, but I stand by it. I hope that makes some kind of sense, and if it doesn't, I apologize for failing at my job. Yeah, PoE 1... Ugh. PoE 1 was much worse about the encounter problem. Oh my god. Well, that's why right now it's a theoretical aggregate negative. It's not a full negative. Like, that's kind of my point, and that's one of the reasons, yes, I did play through Greedfall. That's one of the reasons why it's part of an aggregate negative, because while I do legitimately think Dragon Age Origins has too many encounters...
Poor slobs. That just seems so excessive.
It's not as bad as plenty of other games I can think of. And we just named two of them. Dragon Age 2 and Pillars of Eternity 1. Now, you notice I haven't turned the diff back down yet. It's because I actually want to experience that bridge fight legit. See if I can manage it. I'm not sure if I can, to be completely honest. We'll see. Where are we at? Where are we at? Okay, nope. Where I thought it was. Come on. There they are. Yep. Ah, crap. I believe the phrase is, hope for the best, expect the worst, Mr. Red. No, there's plenty of skill. Anybody who's played this game on hard or nightmare can tell you there's plenty of skill involved. I personally don't enjoy, you know, bouncing through the characters and manually controlling them all, but it would be foolish of me to say that there's not skill involved here. Like, it would be wrong to say that. Just double checking. Yep, okay. Do you need gear to progress? That's a good question. I don't actually know how well the horizontal leveling is designed in this game. I guess we'll have to judge it as we go. Okay. Come here. I guess, Gum Gum. I don't know. I know I triggered the wolves. I'm well aware. It's right about... Oh, now it's gone. There we go. The game's like, hey, you're about to fight something that's going to kill you. Let me throw an autosave down your way. Yep, there it is. That's the encounter right there. Alright, so... First, we're going to be stupid. Just going to charge in and kill this guy. We got this. Here we go. Yeah! Leroy! I can't believe he didn't open with that. Oh, so there's the ads, which are, of course, here. Yeah, there's also traps. Yeah, the autosave is this game's equivalent of... For those of you who get that. So anyways, we're dead. So let's just reload this. So I'm gonna try something. I think I was too slow. We'll see if we can get it off. Ha! We did it! Unfortunately, he just has way too much health for that to work out, unless he doesn't run again, which he might not. I'm just waiting for that fireball, because we are all grouped up here. Nope, we got it. Wow! That was astonishingly successful. No, 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 no! Yeah, no. Bye, Davith. Actually, come here. Davith? Davith is dead. Okay, Davith is dead. Come on. Let's go.
It will be done.
Give it a second. I might need to go further away. Leave no man behind. Davith who?
Right away.
What I'm confused by is that we're still in combat. We shouldn't be at this point.
On it.
Well, shoot. Okay. I mean, does anyone really care about Davith, honestly? This wouldn't be a bad thing, except I was kind of hoping for a health refill before we moved on to the rest. But whatever, this should be fun. You must gather your party before not being irritated. Agreed, Leander.
Very well.
We can pop that. Okay, so we got a bunch of crap over there and an archer over there.
As you will be done.
No, no, no. Chill, chill.
I am ready.
Don't stay there. Too close. But it aggroed him, which is what I wanted anyways. Ah, crap. Okay, no, keep coming, keep coming. Nope, okay, that's all we're getting. Actually, you know what? Hang on. No idea. Come here, come here. Come here. Take the fire. He's buffing, and he's standing there. He just buffed again. Origins 2, Inquisition, in that order, J. Maria Graywall. He does not want to aggro me. Wow, he does not want to cross that bridge. Look at that. Remember I mentioned that advanced AI scripting? Yeesh. Alright, off the leash. Go, 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 go. And I need you up there too. Back to me.
As you wish.
No, we'll be able to kill one Genlock very quickly. Which is why I went ahead and went for that. Now, Well, there's the guys over the hill, and there's the archer right there. Where's Javeth? He's right over there. So we're only still in aggro with this guy. But I'm going to blow one of these on me. I'm going to inch forward a little bit. Careful. I know there's traps over here. He's going to move forward. Yeah. Alright, whatever.
As you say.
Oh, that would be amazing, Leander. So yeah, I knew that was going to aggro the extras. Oh my god! Alistair! Stop hitting every trap! This is still doable. If Alistair gets... There you go, there you go. This guy down. There we go.
What?
Oh.
Right then.
Right. It's not hotkeyed on everyone else. Okay. I think we did it. Second try, actually, while we're on the subject. So, get up. And we're good. Ah, that encounter. That encounter. I cannot believe he didn't fireball us when we were all grouped up. Now, I was legitimately expecting a wipe there, a TPK, when we were all on the emissary's face. Because he could have just fireballed his feet, and that would have been the end of it.
It will be done.
Well, we would never leave you behind, Davith. Yeah. Yeah, Alistair was definitely doing the fighter's methodology of disarming traps. So, we still aren't in... Oh, no, we are injured. There we go. What's he's got? Screw him. Davith doesn't deserve an injury kit. That could be Shadow Machine. That could be. So you notice there's just bags of gore here. This is another thing they've never actually explained. And despite what Huthor might... Hang on, wait for it. There it is. Bonk. Despite what Huthor might tell you, it'd be nice if we got some explanation on that crap. No, the gore bags in Fallout 3 actually have an explanation and reasoning. There's just piles of gore that show up wherever the Darkspawn are. And, on top of that, they also show up... they also show up wherever the Fade is vague. Where the dimensions between the Fade and real life are filtered. So, the thing is, I'm pretty sure that's some limitations of the game and graphics of Engine, because it's basically the exact same crap that we see demons do and Darkspawn do. But to my knowledge, there is no in-universe explanation we're ever given for that. And yeah, it gets pretty gross later on. Yes, Zach Taft. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 3 will both be streamed at some point. And yeah, they have a culture, they have society, they have smiths. They make food happen, they have magic. There's all sorts of stuff about the Darkspawn that's never properly explained. And it never will be. That's not true. What will probably happen is we'll get a retcon of whatever it is, and it may or may not be good, and it'll involve a lot of microtransactions and live services, because screw you. Yeah, they'll never explain brood mothers. Wait. We do know kind of the possibility of how brood mothers exist. It's not on the list, Zach Taft, so I have no plans to. But I'm not saying no, it's just not on the list. Oh yeah, this encounter. Yeah, Darkspawn are beasts working on instinct to destroy, which is why they have crafted armor made of metal and weapons and food and like, I get that they don't organize. They act like monsters in terms of their tactics. That at least makes a degree of sense. but like, there's some holes there, you know. Yeah, they have fletching, for God's sakes. I mean, that's a possibility, Jesse's mask. To my knowledge, that's not a codified fact, though. Because, you know, again, screw us. Turn that back off. So, no, okay. So, this is bad.
I will not falter.
Yeah, I hate to say this, but honestly, I would say that the reason that they have all these things that don't make sense is because either they were saving them for later or they didn't think it through. I'm not going to ding the game for as much as I'd like to. It's a convenient ding. Wow, I missed even when he was prone. Well, the good news is Alistair is dead, as he should be. The bad news is Alistair's dead.
Clumsy. Any last words? Right to the face. Say your prayers.
Yeah, exactly, Lauren. That's why I said whatever explanation we may actually get. Yes, I know, Zekta. Whatever explanation we may ever eventually get is probably going to, by technicality, be a retcon, because who knows what the original intent was. We don't. Hell, we don't even know what the Darkspawn are still, as I pointed out earlier. That'd be cool, all materia. I'd be down for that. Alright. I will go ahead and level. So now that we've got our cunning maxed, we're just going to straight up raise that. Well, I want to double check something. Hang on. That's what I thought. I mean, I'm pretty sure they would try and bottleneck them and deal with them on their own territory. Let's go with... Well, no. Let's go with that. And yeah, eventually the Grey Wardens, the Orlesian Grey Wardens, would show up and be like, alright. There's an interesting question for you. How much does a broodmother remember of herself once she's become a broodmother? Like, I'm phrasing that wrong. Because obviously it's a slow descent, right? So at what point, I guess is the better question, do you think they're finally gone? As they're slowly losing awareness, bit by bit. Until the architect shows up. Why would they, Mr. Wood?
Well, well. What have we here?
One of the best companions in the game.
Are you a vulture, I wonder? A scavenger, poking amidst a corpse whose bones were long since cleaned? Or merely an intruder, come into these darkspawn-filled wilds of mine in search of easy prey? What say you, Scavenger or intruder?
Truthfully, I wish we had more Claudia Black in voice acting. She is an excellent voice actress. I mean, she's a good actress in general. I firmly believe that part of why Morrigan is as awesome as she is because of Claudia Black's amazing portrayal. A lot of the nuances and subtleties of... Really, Takoida? That's actually surprising to me. A lot of the subtleties and nuances of Morrigan are due to the way she voices the lines. The little hesitances or the being flustered or all that stuff. That all comes from the voice acting. I mean, this game does suck in every way, Takoida. I'll totally give you that. I'm sorry. Let's see. Hey, Grey Wolf. Oh, and yes, I do plan to play the new Avengers game. Sorry, I didn't mention that. And you asked if I'll ever play Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2. That's up to you guys, not me. But it's not on the list yet, and therefore cannot be added to the list now. I would first know who you are and where you come from.
You are the intruder here. I believe the first question is rightfully mine. I have watched your progress for some time. Where do they go, I wondered. Why are they here? And now you disturb ashes none have touched for so long. Why is that?
Don't answer her. She looks chastened, and that means others may be nearby.
Oh, you fear barbarians will swoop down upon you.
Yes, swooping is bad.
She's a witch of the wilds, she is. She'll turn us into toads.
Witch of the wilds. Such idle fancies, those legends. Have you no minds of your own?
No, prisoners.
Dwarf. You have nothing to fear from any witch. Tell me your name, and I shall tell you mine. Let us be civilized.
I am Lore. Pleasure to meet you.
Now that is a proper civil greeting, even here in the wilds. You may call me Morrigan. Shall I guess your purpose? You sought something in that chest? Something that is here no longer?
Here no longer? You stole them, didn't you? You're some kind of sneaky witch thief.
How very eloquent. How does one steal from dead men?
Quite easily, it seems. Those documents are Grey Warden property, and I suggest you return them.
I will not, for 'twas not I who removed them. Invoke a name that means nothing here any longer if you wish. I am not threatened.
So then who removed them?
'Twas my mother, in fact.
Could you take us to her?
There is a sensible request. I like you.
I'd be careful. First it's, I like you, but then zap. Frog time.
She'll put us all in the pot, she will. Just you watch.
If the pot's warmer than this forest, it'd be a nice change.
Follow me then, if it pleases you. Greetings, Mother. I bring before you 4 Grey Wardens who...
I see them, girl. Much as I expected.
Are we supposed to believe you were expecting us?
You are required to do nothing, least of all believe. Shut one's eyes tight or open one's arms wide. Either way, one's a fool.
She's a witch, I tell you. We shouldn't be talking to her.
Quiet, Dareth. If she's really a witch, do you want to make her mad?
There is a smart lad. Sadly irrelevant to the larger scheme of things, but it is not I who decides. Believe what you will. And what of you? Does your dwarven mind give you a different viewpoint? What do you believe?
I believe that I wish we had more Kate Mulgrew in voice acting. Because she is also a good voice actress. it's so Flemeth and her she's probably the most overt and obvious example of retcons from Dragon Age Origins to future games. And yeah, I am sad at the direction they took her in Inquisition, and that's all I'm going to say about that. I believe you are crazy and possibly dangerous.
Is that all? Surely your mind stretches farther than these surroundings. So much about you is uncertain, and yet I believe. Do I? Why, it seems I do.
So this is a dreaded Witch of the Wilds.
Witch of the Wilds, huh? Morrigan must have told you that. She fancies such tales, though she would never admit it. Oh, how she dances under the moon.
They did not come to listen to your wild tales, Mother.
True, they came for their treaties, yes? And before you begin barking, your precious seal wore off long ago. I have protected these.
You... Oh, you protected them?
And why not? Take them to your Grey Wardens and tell them this Blight's threat is greater than they realize.
What do you mean?
Either the threat is more, or they realize less. Or perhaps the threat is nothing. Or perhaps they realize nothing. Oh, do not mind me. You have what you came for.
Time for you to go, then.
Do not be ridiculous, girl. These are your guests.
Oh, very well. I will show you out of the woods. Follow me.
Well, that was fun. And funnily enough, I would agree that Flemeth comes across as far more terrifying than Corypheus, especially because of the way she's presented. That being said, if I might add something, I think Corypheus was appropriately terrifying in his initial appearance in Dragon Age 2, where he was just confused and disoriented and, you know, insisted upon things, right? That was far more impressive to me than his entire portrayal in Inquisition. But that's just my opinion.
The Mabari's stable for now, but not improving. Unless I get that herb I told you about, there's not much hope.
Time to put down the dog. No, I'm kidding. We got the flower.
Let me see. Yeah, that's exactly it. Wonderful. Give me a moment and I'll make this into an ointment. He looks better already. I'm sure he'd thank you himself if he could.
How long before there's an improvement?
A day, maybe two. There's enough ointment for him to make a full recovery. Why not come back after the battle? Perhaps we can see about imprinting him on you.
You think that's possible?
Maybe. It's likely he understands you're responsible for curing him. Mabari are at least as smart as your average tax collector. Come back after the battle and just... well, take another look.
Okay. And yes, I would agree that Corypheus is definitely the stepping stone for the other villain in Inquisition. Yeah, he just whatever. What more can I add other than whatever?
So you returned from the wilds. Have you been successful?
Yeah.
Good. I've had the Circle mages preparing. With the blood you've retrieved, we can begin the joining immediately.
So this should be fun. So... we should probably tell you about Morrigan and her mother.
There was a woman at the tower, and her mother had the scrolls. They were both very... odd.
Were they wilder folk?
I don't think so. They might be apostates. Mages hiding from the Chantry.
I know you were once a Templar, Alistair, but Chantry business is not ours. We have the scrolls. Let us focus on the joining.
Right. So, are you going to tell us what this ritual's about?
I will not lie. We Grey Wardens pay a heavy price to become what we are. Fate may decree that you pay your price now, rather than later.
Alright. So why is this so secret?
If only such secrecy were unnecessary, and all understood the necessity of such sacrifice. Sadly, that will never be so.
Let's go then. I'm anxious to see this joining now.
I agree. Let's have it done.
Then let us begin. Alistair, take them to the old temple.
2006, I believe, Kay. Hey, Permius.
The more I hear about this joining, the less I like it.
Are you blubbering again?
Why all these damn tests? Have I not earned my place?
Maybe it's tradition. Maybe they're just trying to annoy you.
Apparently it's 2009. I was close. Just flip it and it'll be fine. So, I've already brought this up, but just to bring it up yet again, do you think the joining is random, or do you think there's something in it? Either testing your willpower, or your soul, or the kind of character you are, or whatever? Or do you think it's just... and that's what determines whether you live or die?
I only know that my wife is in Highover with a child on the way. If they had warned me, it just doesn't seem fair.
Would you have come if they'd warned you? Maybe that's why they don't. The Wardens do what they must, right?
Including sacrificing us?
I'd sacrifice a lot more if I knew it would end the Blight.
Oh yeah, by the way, this is the BioWare standard. Take a character, show them as an archetype, show that they're more than that archetype, which is why I mentioned that they are two-dimensional characters at a minimum, not counting Mabari. Who, you know, the dog, basically. That being stated, by the way, if it's not clear, we don't actually know what this is. To my knowledge, nothing's ever come out and said, this is what this is. But you do notice, sorry, getting back to the point here. The whole point here is that Jory is this big, noble knight who worked with Eamon, and he's a good guy, and he's well-liked, and Javeth was a thief. We kind of skipped over that conversation, but Javeth was a thief who was caught and took this as the only way out. Javeth is the guy who is willing to sacrifice immediately and without hesitation in order to help people. Jory is in this for the glory and wants to be a big, parading knight in order to defeat enemies and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, a cowardly glory hound. I like that. Jory is a cowardly glory hound. Now, I fully stand by what Duncan is about to do, but that being said, what I'm not 100% sure I stand behind is the secrecy of the ritual itself. And we talked about this earlier, because this is the exact same problem with the harrowing. It is more or less the exact same consequence, or approach to consequence as the harrowing. We're not going to tell you what it is, and we're going to swear everyone to secrecy, and then it's going to happen, and then you're going to deal with it. And as I mentioned when we just discussed the harrowing for like 30 frickin' minutes, I don't really have a better option. It just kind of bothers me that people are not allowed to make an informed choice, because I'm really big on informed choices.
You saw those Darkspawns tonight. Wouldn't you die to protect your pretty wife from them?
Maybe
you'll die. Maybe we'll all die. If nobody stops the Darkspawn, we'll die for sure.
I've just never faced a foe I could not engage with my blade.
At last, we come to the joining. The Grey Wardens were founded during the First Blight, when humanity stood on the verge of annihilation. So it was that the first Grey Wardens drank of Darkspawn blood and mastered their taint.
No jokes.
Going to drink the blood of those creatures?
As the first Grey Wardens did before us, as we did before you. This is the source of our power and our victory.
Those who survive the joining become immune to the taint. We can sense it in the Darkspawn and use it to slay the Archdemon.
Also, we die slowly. Like, that's something to be mentioned as well. It's kind of important. Also, we're going to guarantee die to fight the Archdemon, but that'll come later. We'll get to that later. I suppose another valid thing, someone made a parallel to the Witchers. Another valid thing is some people might, given how incredibly biased, superstitious, and stupid the people of this world are, knowing that Grey Wardens are basically sentient Darkspawn, because that is effectively what they are, might have people being like, you're what? I mean, think about, you can't tell me that couldn't lead to a pogrom. People go after elves for having pointy ears, for God's sakes, right? You can't tell me that couldn't lead to some problems. So, for that reason alone, I could see keeping this a secret.
Not all who drink the blood will survive, and those who do are forever changed. This is why the joining is a secret. It is the price we pay. We speak only a few words prior to the joining, but these words have been said since the first. Alistair, if you would.
Join us, brothers and sisters. Join us in the shadows where we stand vigilant. Join us as we carry the duty that cannot be forsworn. And should you perish, know that your sacrifice will not be forgotten.
Look at Jory.
And that one day, we shall join you.
Davith, step forward.
Sorry, Davith.
Maker's breath.
I am sorry, Davith. Step forward, Jory.
But I have a wife, a child. Had I known...
There is no turning back.
No, you ask too much. There is no glory in this.
I am sorry. But the joining is not yet complete. You are called upon to submit yourself to the taint for the greater good.
For the greater good!
From this moment forth, you are a Grey Warden.
A little premature to say that.
It is finished. Welcome.
2 more deaths. In my joining, only one of us died, but it was horrible. I'm glad at least one of you made it through.
How do you feel?
Oh, excuse me, I had something stuck in my throat. I'm fine.
Did you have dreams? I had terrible dreams after my joining.
Such dreams come when you begin to sense the Darkspawn, as we all do. That and many other things can be explained in the months to come.
Before I forget, there is one last part to your joining. We take some of that blood and put it in a pendant. Something to remind us of those who didn't make it this far.
Take some time. When you're ready, I'd like you to accompany me to a meeting with the king.
You know what's funny is someone compared these guys to the Witchers. Funnily enough, you know how many horrific things the Witchers go through in their mutations and how the fatality rate is there? Just interesting parallel. Couple things. First, thank you very, very much, Zombacho. Very much appreciate your support and your sub. Thank you. If you know where you want to put that, as far as increasing priority, please let me know. Second of all, you're right, of course. Obviously, they are honored as Grey Wardens the moment they decide to drink, which, funnily enough, means Jory will not be honored as a Grey Warden. Third of all, though, I've spoken in defense. Mystic Quest, you got it. I've spoken in defense many times of what Duncan did. And every time I rewatch it, it's like, yeah, no. Makes sense to me. For real. I mean, ignoring the obvious, you got to put him down thing. Jory draws first. Jory draws his sword first. And Jory also attacks first, if you're paying attention to that one as well. Duncan only draws his dagger because Jory drew a blade on him. And Duncan parries the first blow. Which is relevant, I think. In my opinion. Thank you very much, Mashti. Thank you very, very much for the sub, sir. And or madam. If you know where you want to put that, please let me know. Yes, Jory shot first. I don't know what he was thinking. In truth, I think he was just panicking. Just straight up. It was what I think was going through his brain. Now, I do think drinking all at the same time would be a lot smarter. I agree with that. Oh my god. I also, while we're on the subject, I have to add one other thing here. Because we've been talking a lot about why things are the way they are in various different ways, and all of it from an in-character perspective, but let's be 100% real. The reason so much of what the Grey Wardens are and how they work is kept a secret is so that those can be revealed later to the player. That is the reason. That is the specific and definitive reason why they kept so much from us, why they didn't tell us everything up front, and why they didn't just sit down for like 20 minutes and be like, all right, listen, okay, so bit by bit, you guys are going to, succumb to the Darkspawn, and you're going to go walk into the Dark Roads because we're technically connected to them. We're connected to the Archdemon, so we can sense the Archdemon. That's how we know we're there. Also, the way the Archdemon is the reason the Blights are such a problem, because they can just pop in a new thing and create a new thing, and the Archdemon is the mind to the Horde. Therefore, we have to kill the Archdemon to end a Blight. And the only way to kill an Archdemon is to accept its death into yourself, and that's going to permanently sacrifice you. And it would take like 20 minutes to sit down and explain this. 20 minutes. To just be like, all right, listen. Let's explain this all. Thank you, Vigilant. As always, sir, thank you for your support. I put that towards the Batman Arkham trilogy. But, I mean, there are in-character reasons this could be argued and blah, 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 but there's another problem here. The method by which they convey this information, let's be clear, the information about what it takes to join, the information about what it is required of being a Grey Warden, the curse, the fact that the method by which an Archdemon is slain, the method by which they sense the Darkspawn, and this is the most important one, the specific enchanting ritual they use to make the stuff in the blood, right? Like there's a specific enchantment that they use on the Darkspawn blood. They don't just take a vial of Darkspawn blood and go glug, glug, glug. That would just straight up kill them, right? So all of that stuff, yes, enchantment, all of that stuff is stuff that can be lost on a regional basis because of how secretive they are. And funnily enough, that is more or less exactly what happens in this game. Because no one ever asked the question, why don't we recruit new Grey Wardens? And the answer is because we can't, because we literally lack the knowledge. Now, one moment. Excuse me. So to continue, if I may, there is one other niggle there, and it's actually important, and it's probably one thing I'll give the game. Not telling and not expositing, that's just to keep things from the player and for obvious reasons. Excuse me. However, there is one part of keeping the player in the dark which is actually well done. and that's Orlais. Remember, this game occurs over the course of about a year. It's very quick, relatively speaking. And that's why this is such an extremely short blight. And Orlais is being prevented from coming in. In fact, they are specifically being... The Orlesian Grey Wardens are being prevented from being allowed in because Loghain thinks that... Yeah, no kidding, Doxo. Lord Loghain thinks that the Orlesian Grey Wardens are part of an advanced fighting force of Orlais. That actually lines up and makes perfect sense. However, even that has a couple of niggles to it. However, even those niggles can be smoothed out if we think about it. Remember, so you're probably thinking, well, okay, they weren't allowed in. Why wouldn't they go in anyways? They're Grey Wardens. There's a blight. We got to deal with this. Well, that's exactly what happened. I can't remember his name, but there is actually a Grey Warden who is an Orlesian Grey Warden who actually does sneak into the country. The problem is he is caught and tortured because Rendon Howe. Riordan, thank you, Riordan, who is actually a total badass for how little screen time he has, but Riordan probably should have actually been the PC of this game if the PC didn't exist and Loghain didn't, wasn't. So, long and the short of it is, that is actually pretty well written, but I do have to admit that this part is not as well written for me. I do think this is a little bit too convenient to try and keep this for the future. Now, someone, I think it was Dakota mentioned something that could have been done storytelling-wise in order to try and stretch this out. I think it was Dakota. Might have been someone else. I don't know, it doesn't matter. Someone said the idea, and I don't remember who it was. Forgive me for not remembering who said this. But this is an idea I myself had as well, and I've heard a couple people say it. It's the idea that they don't show on screen the exposition, and therefore we just kind of go through the game, and then when it gets to a certain point, it is revealed to the player what the character already knew via flashback or whatever. To explain how this would go, it's very simple. Riordan shows up, way late game, and he has that scene, which is already in the game, actually, if you remember. There's this scene where it's like, all right, who is going to be the one to fell the archdemon? And the character looks down, and then we see a flashback. We see Duncan. There was a thing, and this is how the archdemon killing thing works. And then we flash back, right? Not the best form of storytelling, but that would be a way to try and make sure that, the Grey Wardens weren't being stupid, and to still keep that as a reveal for the player later on. I don't have an answer for the whole making new Grey Warden thing. Maybe they just decided they didn't want to have any? I don't know. Anywho, what meeting is this?
The king is discussing strategy for the upcoming battle. I am not sure why he has requested your presence. The meeting is to the west, down the stairs. Please attend as soon as you're able.
Okay. That's true. That's actually another good idea, Pillars of Snow. That's true, Dakota. Another way they could do this is they could make it so that when the big scene comes, Alistair and the PC are the ones to explain what they know to everyone else. We have to die for this. We're going to our deaths in order to permanently kill the archdemon. Blah, 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 blah. And then we could have a scene where people are reacting, no, I love you, or no, you're my friend, or, well, that sucks because I don't really like you that much, or, I always hated you anyways. Various reactions kind of a thing. They could do something like that. And yeah, I agree, Kira White Noise, and someone else mentioned it earlier. With proper foreshadowing, the character knowing the whole time would work. Because there could be plenty of scenes where they're just kind of like, just having a quiet reaction to someone mentioning what's going on. I'll level up in a minute. Well, no, I should probably level up now. Let's level up now. I apparently don't get any points at this level. That sucks. Yeah, let's do it. In just a moment, Crazy Horse.
Loghain, my decision is final. I will stand by the Grey Wardens in this assault.
You risk too much, Kalen.
The Darkspawn Horde is too dangerous for you to be playing hero on the front lines.
If that's the case, perhaps we should wait for the Orlesian forces to join us after all.
I must repeat my protest to your fool notion that we need the Orlesians to defend ourselves.
It is not a fool notion. Our arguments with the Orlesians are a thing of the past, and you will remember who is king.
How fortunate Marek did not live to see his son ready to hand Ferelden over to those who enslaved us for a century.
Then our current forces will have to suffice, won't they? Duncan, are your men ready for battle?
They are, Your Majesty.
And this is the recruit I met earlier on the road? I understand congratulations are in order.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
Every Grey Warden is needed now. You should be honored to join their ranks.
Your fascination with glory and legends will be your undoing, Kalen. We must attend to reality.
Fine. Speak your strategy. The Grey Wardens and I draw the Darkspawn into charging our lines, and then?
You will alert the tower to light the beacon, signaling my men to charge from
cover. To flank the Darkspawn, I remember. This is the Tower of Ishal in the ruins, yes? Well, who shall light this beacon?
I have a few men stationed there. It's not a dangerous task, but it is vital.
Then we should send our best. Send Alistair and the new Grey Warden to make sure it's done.
I'll do my best, Your Majesty.
You rely on these Grey Wardens too much. Is that truly wise?
Enough of your conspiracy theories, Loghain. Grey Wardens battle the Blight no matter where they're from.
Your Majesty, you should consider the possibility of the Archdemon appearing.
There have been no signs of any dragons in the wilds.
Isn't that what your men are here for, Duncan?
Yes, Your Majesty.
Your Majesty, the tower and its beacon are unnecessary. The
We
Circle
will
of
not
Magi...
trust any lives to your spells, Mage. Save them for the Darkspawn.
Enough! This plan will suffice. The Grey Wardens will light the beacon.
Thank you, Loghain. I cannot wait for that glorious moment. The Grey Wardens battle beside the King of Ferelden to stem the tide of evil.
Yes, Kalen. A glorious moment for us all.
So, God, there's a lot to unpack in that scene.
You heard the plan. You and Alistair will go to the Tower of Ishal and ensure the beacon is lit.
What? I won't be in the battle.
This is by the King's personal request, Alistair. If the beacon is not lit, Tern Loghain's men won't know when to charge.
So he needs 2 Grey Wardens standing up there holding the torch, just in case, right?
So, it's possible... Okay, so hang on. Rewind a second. Couple things. First of all, when did Loghain exactly decide to betray people? That's a good question. But it is undoubtedly, by the end of that conversation, he has definitively decided to betray, everyone. The question is, did he decide that at the beginning of the meeting, or if he already knew walking into it, right? I don't know, is my honest answer to that. My take on things, especially given what we know about Loghain, is that he was basically making one last attempt to try and push for some reason. One last attempt to get through to Kalen. He failed, so, well, that's the end of that. Now, Kalen mentioned... Yeah, I agree, Leander. That's just my take on it. I don't actually know. Kalen sending Alistair off, I don't know if he did that on purpose. I guarantee you Duncan did, because what Duncan did makes a lot of sense. The reason by his definition is... But anyways, so Duncan absolutely is thinking of this pragmatically and long terms. If we've seen Duncan, we know that while he's a good guy, relatively speaking, he is immensely pragmatic. He knows this is a real blight. He knows there's a real archdemon. That takes highest priority. Period. Like, that's in his mind. And if something happened to Kalen, well, they have the blood, and Duncan knew about Alistair's blood. That's confirmed. So Duncan having someone who is a Grey Warden who could take over even temporarily as king in order to smooth things over and quickly get this blight situation dealt with, that's a nice card to keep in the back pocket. Next thing I want to mention here is that one of my favorite quiet, subtle moments of that, and I'm pretty sure I talked about this during the lore run, one of my favorite little moments there is when Uldred shows up. Yes, that was Uldred. And says, "Don't worry, the mages got this." Then the Chantry smacks him down, because the Chantry's got a Chantry. I have often felt that that was actually things not really going according to plan, and that Uldred and Loghain were already working together. And you're probably thinking, "Lore, you're dumb and stupid." Well, hear me out. First of all, I think Loghain already had the plan to betray walking into this meeting. I don't think I don't think he'd committed to it yet, but the plan was in place. Now let's say Uldred had actually done this, rather than it being us. They go to the tower. Uldred does not light the beacon. The soldiers never charge. Oh no, the king is dead. It's this horrible, desperate tragedy because the Darkspawn taint was affecting their magic. And all of this would have been completely smoothed over. Instead, the beacon is lit, and a lot of people saw the beacon being lit, and that led to people's whispering, and people not sure about things, and misconflicting reports, and politicking, and civil war. But if the beacon had never been lit... Now, it's also probably worth noting that Loghain probably doesn't think this is a real blight. Either that, or this is also possible. Why would he have to take the blame for that defeat, Lord Harrowmont? He tried to light the beacon with his magic, but the Darkspawn energies just prevented it from happening. We couldn't cast properly in their horrific presence. They are truly abominations. So to continue talking about Loghain for a second, I would not be surprised at all if he, even thinking this is a real blight, legitimately thinks that Orlais is the bigger threat. Possible Crazy Norse. There's a few lines of dialogue he has which don't seem to indicate that he disbelieves the blight. But at the same... we'll just have to disagree on that one, Lord Harrowmont. I'm sorry. It's possible he doesn't believe this is a real blight. It is also entirely within the realm of possibility that he doesn't see a blight as a serious threat. Because I've defeated Orlais, and now I've got a huge army at my back, and I've got all of Ferelden at my back. He doesn't know that he doesn't have it, but you get the idea. And yeah, if the Darkspawn weren't hive-minding, weren't RTSing it, he might actually be correct. And he also doesn't know about the Archdemon thing. And yet again, that lack of information about how the Grey Wardens work once again bites everyone in the ass. We were saying earlier about how you don't want, knowledge of the Grey Wardens to be public knowledge. Which, okay, I can kind of be with that. You know how in Harry Potter, the actual leaders of the government know that magic exists? Like, you see where I'm going with this, right? It is entirely within reasonability, I think, that the leaders of governments should probably be in on the Grey Warden secrets to some extent or another. I mean... maybe that's just me. Now, even that being said, it's actually entirely possible that Loghain might not actually know about that because he's not one of those leaders in question. Merrick might have known that. Kaelin might have known about that. But that might have been the end of it, and Kaelin might never have imparted that information about Loghain. So that could have still worked out if he had been aware of that. So. Anyways, I'm sorry. Like I said, a lot to unpack in that scene. I should probably jot down a few things here. We'll just go ahead and jot this one down, and this one down, and this one down. Yeah, I was going to say, Merrick probably knew, legitimately. It wouldn't surprise me if Merrick knew. Kaelin, that's a little more debatable. Loghain obviously did not know. Like, that's legitimately something he was unaware of. Yeah, I wouldn't want Tevinter to know about the Grey Warden thing. So that's actually an interesting take on that, Saldir. That Loghain knows, or rather is aware of the information, but doesn't believe it. That's actually possible, too. Anyways, let's do this.
Yes, so am I.
You'll need to cross the gorge and head through the gate and up to the tower entrance. From the top, you'll overlook the entire valley.
So, when do we light the beacon?
We will signal you when the time is right. Alistair will know what to look for.
Can we join the battle afterwards?
Stay with the Terran's men and guard the tower. If you are needed, we will send word.
So you caught that, right? That's why I say Duncan was absolutely doing this on purpose. Duncan gives us the order to not join the battle to ensure that Alistair is his back pocket ace.
We soil our drawers, that's what.
If it does, leave it to us. I want no heroics from either of you.
I sure hope so, Browser, because he's about to die, spoiler alert.
Then I must join the others. From here, you two are on your own. Remember, you are both Grey Wardens. I expect you to be worthy of that title.
Duncan, may the Maker watch over you.
May he watch over us all.
The PC isn't part of the back pocket thing, no, because the PC doesn't wield political power. Alistair might. But you know what else might? It's chopping off for lunch.